What's going on, loves and lovettes? How are you doing? Welcome to the 92nd edition of the Chronicles of Podcast. We are so close. Those triple figures, baby. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. How you all doing? Welcome in. Come on, take a seat. Chill out, relax, sit down, get comfy. Get some snacks. I was going to say nachos. That's probably what I'd go for, to be honest with you. And welcome into the Chronicles of Joe Matera.
That is absolutely right, baby.
Beautiful. I suppose we better get this started. Make sure you don't spill those nacho juice anywhere. Hit it!
Hi there! You're about to enjoy the Chronicles of Tom and Jeannie.
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Mann.
Hi guys, my name's Annabelle Knight and
hello, this is Becky Baldwin.
Hello, I'm Chesney.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Braden from Say We Can Fly.
Hi, my name's Joe Matera. I'm an Australian singer, songwriter, guitarist, music journalist, author, and you're watching the Chronicles of Podcast with Jamie and Tom. Check it out, and hope you enjoy the chat.
Hear our eyeballs move inside their sockets.
You may have given him the impression that you would be happy for him to sacrifice you to appease the gods when it is convenient.
Are you asleep, Dave? No, mate. I just heard your eyes close. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 92nd edition of the Chronicles of Podcast. And these are the Chronicles of Joe Matera. It is I, the bearded brummie with a very croaky voice, so he didn't do very well on that one, Jamie. And joining me, as always, is this handsome fella right here.
Do you know what? I'll give you a hand. At least you tried. At least you tried.
No, dreadful.
At least it'd be like, do you know what? I'll sack that off. It's the Scotsman Tom. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the 92nd edition. But I'm proud of you that you just went, do you know what? Fuck it. Even though my voice is fucked, I'm still going to try and attempt the as high pitch as possible. So I'm actually quite proud.
I'm amazed it even came out. I went to sing along to a song earlier, and literally no sound came out of me. I couldn't go high pitched at all. So.
Unless you did, and only dogs could hear you.
Maybe it was that one.
So, what was the song?
Come up and see me, make me smile, by Steve Harley and the Cockney Rebel.
Oh, I've never heard of them.
Who this week's guest Joe Matera played with. So there we are.
Oh, that's cool. You almost said ghost, didn't you?
I did. Again, voice is fucked.
Yeah. All that ghost that he hangs around with every now and again. Jamie, the big question of the week this week is, does a square cut or a triangle cut offer more sandwich?
Ooh, that is a very good question. I don't think so, though. I don't think there's really any difference, is there?
Well, obviously, because it's the same the bread is the same size. It doesn't matter. But what would offer you more sandwich? Because obviously, if you go for a triangle cut sandwich, you're going to get 2 crust. If you go for a square cut sandwich, 3 crust. So are you getting more sandwich in the triangle than in the square?
It's very hard to take this question seriously the way you're pronouncing sandwich.
But... I wanted laughs. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for laughs rather than, oh, thank you, Einstein. Let me work that one out. So carry the 2 right times 6.
Oh, someone's got his sassy pants on this week, hasn't he? But
sassy pants. All right. Sorry.
I'm going to go with a square one because I feel like with a triangle one, there's too much awkwardness. You can't just get a good bite out of that.
Yeah, you can. The corner.
Yeah, but not everyone likes the crust. I love a crust, so it doesn't bother me. But I'm thinking of a general rule here.
Cut the crust off. I mean, the thing is, like, why are you going to cut the crust off anyway? Because then it feels like kids like sandwich. So I mean, like, because I think my mum used to do it when I was a kid to have jam sandwiches, and she'd always cut the crust off. I think I used to hate crust. I eat it now, but then if you have pizza crust, I find pizza crust can be really filling and ruin eating the rest of the pizza because you get fuller faster.
I can see the logic there. I love the crust though, so I'm going to eat it regardless.
I always go stuffed. I can't eat any of that. I can't do thin crust or deep pan or any of the fluffiness. It has to be filled with something, preferably a hot dog. But it's great. Iceland hot dog stuffed crust pizzas, unbelievable. Cheap as hell and tastes great. Probably very bad for you. But no, going back to the sandwich, I'm definitely a triangle sandwich man because I think that it's only too crested, and then you've got all that space and all that surface area for filling of sandwich.
I do see your point.
And then go and then you've got 2 bits. You go and it goes to 3. You go arm, and everybody wins.
I love the way you've broken down how many bites it takes to eat it and everything.
It does, because obviously,
how can I argue with
you go for the corner, it gets wider and wider because you've gone from the very, very tip of the corner of the sandwich, and then you're going to start eating down. So it just gets wider, and it's great. And then obviously, originally, oh my god, let me start that one again. And then eventually, is what I was trying to say, is it will eventually go back to obviously less sandwich. But I think that triangle, you definitely can have more filling.
But can you put crisps on a triangle one as well as you can a normal one?
Well, I don't know what you mean by normal, because obviously it's
a square one, you know.
Okay, it's still a sandwich. Well, yeah, you could put them in. What do you mean? Okay, is there a method to this?
I'm just thinking in my head, like, would it not overlap a bit more to the outside of the bread instead of keeping it in tightly compact?
Doesn't need to be compact. Are you one of those people that hates the fact if it spills to the outside?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I'll push them back in.
Really?
Yeah, I hate it.
Oh,
that really bothers me.
That's an interesting.
I don't know. If it's a crisp sandwich, I want the crisp in the fucking sandwich, not on the outside. You'd
be fucked if you want like quaver sandwiches, wouldn't you? You'll get 2 in and you're done. They're so like, you'd be like, oh, well, it'll ruin the bread to crisp ratio because they're so big or they're so weirdly shaped. You'd have to just crush them in, surely. But it's just a cheese sandwich.
Yeah, they are good.
Crisps don't contain any nutritional value whatsoever anyway. No. Welcome to the Food Channel with Tom and Jamie. Going into this really in depth, but what's it's a cheesier, so it tastes. I don't know. I feel like flavors are boring. Go on, Callum.
I will say hula hoops are the worst crisps to put on a sandwich, though, because they don't break up. They're just there, and they like take a bite, and like, ow, fuck, hula hoop.
Oh, they're a vicious crisp. Hula hoop. They don't take no shit. No. If you're going to bite into them, they ain't going to stab you in those gums and make them bleed. I'll tell you that right now. What's it's just like, oh, whatever. I'm soft as fuck anyway, so who cares? Anyway, let's move on from before we get started turning into right old fucking stories about it. Imperial Lather Sanex Dove adverts. You know, it's like, oh my god, this is so great to wash yourself in this sort of like this smelling salt and that sort of crap. You know those adverts?
Yeah, I know.
Where they wash themselves so slowly, sexily, and silkily. I wish they'd actually record those adverts properly in a proper shower where people properly wash, where water is fucked up all over the place and they're just like, they're fucking like jackknifing with a towel and that sort of bollocks. Like a real proper shower. I really get in the bed. You're like, what's going on? And it's like covered in fucking, so rather than, oh God, this Sanex is so lovely and silky on my skin.
I don't think I've ever had a shower and gone, oh, this feels nice on my skin, doesn't it? I'm just smiling.
Yeah, and then this over the shoulder gone, oh, it's so smooth and silky. No, you just literally like, get in, bollocks, wash the bollocks, under the balls we go, up the arse. All that sort of stuff, like really get in there into the crevices and whatnot. That'd be a real proper shower.
It really would. Like reality, you got your arm in your head and go, fucking clean them pits. You got ladies like holding a boob up, getting the under boob.
Yeah, and it'd be like, let's go round again. Because people sing in the shower, don't they? So, maybe we'll turn back the hands of Are you getting this in? Are you getting this singing voice as well? Hopefully. Oh, I don't really. I know it's not fucking X Factor, but still. When you walk down the street with your big fucking feet, that's a pizza. I don't know. I don't know. I realised that I was singing the More and I was going, I've gone with it. I have to finish it. I can't just leave it there. You know what I mean? So that makes no sense. But that'll be a better shower advert, I feel, rather than just like, Dove, it does the job. And it's always the shoulder and the arm. Why is it the shoulder and the arm every time? It's never anywhere else.
No. But it can't really show anywhere else if you're in a shower, can they? Like
head?
I suppose
feet,
it's
so head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
to be fair, if they just showed the feet, you just have all these like foot fetish people just watching it going, I fucking love that advert, me with soapy toes.
I'm gonna run my fucking fingers through them. Yeah, I just watched an advert and I was like, no one showers like that. Podcast. And I've got a gripe.
Oh, we've got a gripe.
So
okay.
I've got a gripe this week, Jamie. People that talk on the phone, on speakerphone, outside with fuckloads of people around, right? But hold the phone over here, as far away from their head as possible. And they're like, what? What'd you say? I can't hear you. Like, just, if you're in your own home and you want to have a conversation through the phone, do it over the fuck you like. But you're not going to have any success outside. If I'm really truthful. We've got the wind obviously like blowing through everything. And it's like, but why are they holding it so far away? I don't understand this method of why this is a phone conversation now. Is it because people do it on Love Island? Is that why this happened? I don't know. They have phones. I don't know. People, for some reason, this is dead. This is completely dead. It's all this now.
I don't get it.
And Joshua came around, right? I can't believe the dickhead, right? He came around and he had 4 balls. I don't know what the fuck he was playing at, but he's obviously been at Gemma.
I think you might actually be onto something here because I've often wondered this where it came from. And I remember I do not watch reality TV. It's a load of bollocks to me. But I remember watching Total Divas, I think it was. And they were sat in the car having a phone conversation on speakerphone like that. And I was like, does this happen on other reality TV? Is this where this is coming from? Why people are suddenly doing this? Because I don't get it. Yeah, that's how a phone works. You put it to your head. No one else needs to hear your conversation.
Nope. Absolutely nobody. But it's almost like they're doing it for the effect, aren't they? Like, I don't know if they're going to get like, snapped in the paps or something. They're like, oh, yeah. So like Jamie came over and he was like, he fucked his sister. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But he was also inside his mum at the same time. And then like basically Gemma came over and she started licking her asshole. And I was like, fucking hell, her dad's inside now. What's going on? Like, wait, people aren't listening to me. Hang on. Yeah. So basically what was going on?
Yeah. But don't tell anyone, babes. Like it's a secret. Don't tell anyone, babes.
I'd sign an NDA for this. I feel that I you know, and this is serious now. I feel that people think they live in reality TV. I think people mimic what they see on TV and think that that's obviously cool. I think that's where all these words have come from, like gassed and peak and that sort of thing. I think that's all come from as well. It seems to be this new age of. I think they used gas watching AEW last week, and I was like, "The fuck!" Like,
really?
It was a bit odd. It's either that or WWE. One of them did it. It's WWE, but still, it was just a Corey of Groves did it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" There's going to be a point in time, Jamie, where we'll get older, and the English language will not be as we know it, and we'll have no fucking clue what anybody says anymore.
Pretty much, it does seem like it's going that way. But this is where like things like TikTok and whatnot, I think they're great in the sense that people who are so talented but don't have that platform to get out there actually have this free platform to show off their talents and stuff like that. But then you've got the polar opposite side of it. You've got these absolute dingbats that now have this platform where they walk around going, oh my God, I need to do everything in public because everyone needs to see me and act like an absolute tool. Yeah,
I love that you use dingbat. I don't think I've heard that since I was about 8.
You can tell I've been with the kids today, can't you?
That is absolutely amazing. Why is a bat a ding?
I don't.
Is there a species of bat called dingbats?
I would say is a dingbat a real thing?
Stupid bats, or do they make a bell noise, or like what is a dingbat? I'm quite intrigued. But you are absolutely spot on. When I was away in Manchester for work, we were eating in a restaurant. Should I say? My words didn't come out my face then, so. I don't eat a restaurant. That's not what you do. You eat in the restaurant, not at the actual building itself. That would be a very painful and weird thing to be doing. Yeah, we're not Wreck-It Ralph. But there was 2 or 3 girls behind it, and it was all glass windows, doing a TikTok in the middle of this archway in everybody's fucking way.
Why?
And I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand this whole... It's like the Truman Show now exists.
Yes. That is it, yeah. The Truman Show basically is reality now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically, apart from they're not following one person, it's everybody online.
Yeah, it's a scary world we live in.
Massively. absolutely massively. But there we are, boys. How are you anyway? Obviously, you've been feeling a bit shitty as we can hear. So what's going on?
I'm feeling rather crappy. Yeah, I'm just very, very tired and run down, and just I don't know what it is. I feel like I think we had this conversation on the phone the other day. I feel like since COVID days and whatnot, the common cold has just turned into an absolute dickhead. It's like, I went away for a year and a half. I'm back, motherfuckers. And it's just, it is absolutely destroying me.
Yeah, the common cold basically went, I see you, COVID, and I raise you this.
Yeah. In the past, if I've got a cold, it's like, blow your nose, get over it, mate. And this time I'm just like, I think I might just go curl up in the corner and have a cry.
I genuinely feel it was because we wore masks for 2 years.
It could be.
So nothing could get in. I mean, your ears have a drum in the way. So it just had to seep through your eyes.
It could be the case. It could be the case. But I did want to mention something. I was in the car earlier listening to music, as you do. And I heard a song that I completely forgot about. Cast your mind back, sir, to 2003, 2004. Do you remember the drama of Eamon and Frankie? Do you remember these two songs?
Is this the fuck you right now? Yes. I'm leaving. I don't want you back or something. Yeah.
I completely forgot about that song and it came on earlier. I was like, oh my God, this was a thing, wasn't it? Fuck you. I don't want you back.
Dude, I think it was all a marketing ploy. I don't think it was actually genuine.
I looked it up because I didn't actually know. I was like, I'm wondering this. And it turns out that they basically, he wrote the song, released it, did his thing as what he wanted to do. And then Frankie, she basically licensed the music and released it, claiming she was his ex-girlfriend. And he's like, I've never met this woman. I don't even know who the hell she is.
Yeah. No, I think it was, I remember it was something like that.
He's like, I've only got a writing credit on the song because they used my music for the background. I was like, how nuts is that? And in fact, it became like a #1 songs and all this sort of stuff.
It is a stupidly catchy song, though.
It is a very
it's again one of those that people don't like to admit they really like.
I didn't enjoy it. I'm not going to admit I enjoyed it because I didn't. It was bloody dreadful. But I did like the fact when I thought this was a genuine thing, like two people working together. I was like, that's a great idea to get two songs out there, though. One diss track and then a retort. That's a great idea. It's absolutely brilliant. I wonder what happened to those two, though.
Probably absolutely one-hit wonders, mate. So I have a Jason Derulo song that I keep very neatly packed in my little front pocket that I'll bash out every now and again that I'll enjoy when either washing up or whatever. Or I believe it's called What If.
I don't know that one.
So I just like, he doesn't actually say his name in it. So I know. At least I don't think he does. Now thinking about it, I don't think he does at all. But yeah, I just like enjoying that one. Is it that one? I now can't remember which one it is. I might have to go back. I think it is that one. I can't remember. Anyway, that's a nice little neatly stashed little song there that I like to just enjoy every now and again. Because I think the best thing about music is obviously if you pigeonhole yourself, there's only so much you can listen to that I think it's good to have a broad. I'm not sitting there going, fucking everybody listens to the same shit every day as a fucking wanker, because you're not at all. But like I like to just mix it up every now and again. So I'll put NSYNC on every now and again because why not?
Why not? That's great.
Or I listen to Say We Can Fly like every day. It's just like that sort of thing. Like I like to mix it up every now and again. So
that'll be good.
That's just me. But yeah, I remember it being some sort of marketing thing.
Well, I was looking up. Apparently, it won. I don't know if it's been beaten now. It held the Guinness World Record for the most amount of expletives in a song it's ever gone into the UK charts.
Really?
Yeah. But when you think about it, there was a lot of swearing in that. I'm amazed it made it onto radio. The radio edit must have been dreadful. Beep, 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 beep.
But beep me, beep, 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 right now, beep, beep back.
Pretty much, yeah.
What's on? What? This is a banger, this. Beep, beep, beep me. Beep, 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 beep back. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep right now. Back. This is a fucking tune, this. House track. Get the trance on. Get the trance on. I'm going to be like, yeah, right on.
I actually looked up at the Eamon guy. He released one other song called "I Love Them Hoes," which is probably why we never heard of him again after that. So there we are then.
And I bet it's just that repetitively, like down, 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 down to down by that Paul Johnson guy. Down, down, down to down, 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 down to down, 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 down to down, 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 down. So imagine he was just like, I love them hoes, 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 hoes. I love them hoes, 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 hoes. I love them hoes, 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 hoes. Love them ho, 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 ho.
Love them hoes, love them hoes, love them hoes. I love them hoes.
Or, sorry, it'd be like, beep, 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 beep.
Oh my God, this voice is just embarrassing me this week. Oh. But how are you, sir?
I'm exhausted. I'm not going to lie to you. Me and my brother had like a 6-hour session on the old PS5 last night, so I'm a bit like, huh? And the heat in this flat's been disgusting, so I then didn't sleep. It was almost, I'm frustrating. I'm so frustrated that my body does this. I'm one of those people that when I'm awake, game over, I'm up. I can't, that's it, game. I'll be like, so it literally be like, as soon as I go, oh no, shit. Oh, never mind. Game over. So I went to bed at like 3, woke up at 9.
Ooh.
So I'm like, is this Earth? I feel a bit like that today. But yeah, and I don't know what it is, but like it's not actually been that hot. The humidity's been disgusting today.
Yeah.
Like I'm surprised like the human race hasn't started to melt.
Yeah, it's been. I've been out all day, and it's like the sun's been shining, but there's been plenty of shade, and it's been breezy and stuff. It's just it's that humidity and the mugginess. It's like, get out of here.
British summer, woo!
It can go away now. I've had a week of it. I'm done now.
I just pray for thunder. I just want thunder, like just break it up a little bit. Give us something to be able to actually breathe and live our lives outside for a little bit, rather than let's put a t-shirt. We look. Oh, well, that's that t-shirt done. Straight in the wash. I went for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, what have you been doing yourself here, my friend? Let's move on.
I'll be honest, not a fat lot because I've just worked 6 nights in a row. So today's my first day off. I've just been sleeping and working nights for 6 days. So yeah, pretty fucking knackered. And yeah, my body clock's just a bit all over the shop from that. But so yeah, not a lot. We've done 2 absolutely fantastic interviews. I went to go see the kids today. We went to Sanford Park. I thought we could take them to go for a picnic in a park. And I was like, we don't want to go to Pittville. I was like, I really don't want to go to Pittville Park. In this heat, it's going to be chock-a-block. And don't get me wrong, I love my own children, but everyone else's just need to get out of my way. So the idea of Pittville Park was hell to me. So we went to Sanford Park. It was lovely. It was quiet. There was a few kids there expected, but it was nowhere near as bad. We had a great time. And then my dad came and saw us as well because he was passing through Cheltenham. So we went down to him, went and had an ice cream, catched up with him for a bit. And yeah, it was a nice little day. And then
Catched up.
I can't talk. Caught up. There we go. Sleep deprived and not very well. Leave me alone.
Your spelling's starting to seep into your speaking. Sorry. Carry on.
At least I didn't try and eat a building. Go away. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up to. I've not done a fat lot. Watching wise, I've started 2 new shows because I thought, I'm going to have my in-depth get into show and I'm just going to have a take it easy show. Because when I watched 24, it was like all I was watching. I was like, every now and again, you need something just a bit more light-hearted. So I realised I have never watched, apart a few episodes, one of the most classic British comedies of all time. So I've started watching Red Dwarf.
Okay. So
I'm on like episode 3 of the first series of Red Dwarf. I get it. I get why everyone loves it so much. It is brilliant. I'm really enjoying it. And thanks to the interview we started the other day, I'm currently on episode 2 of Yellow Jackets. Ooh. Yeah, it's good. It is really good. It's reaching that point now where the story is like really starting to seep in. He's like,
in one episode.
No, it's in the second episode. Like it's all you've got the basis of the story, but then the juicy bits start to seep in the early episodes.
Yes.
Like,
to be honest with you, James, when you started saying you're watching stuff, I was like, he's not going to hate it.
No. Well, I wouldn't be watching it if I hated it, to be fair. But yeah. But no, it is really good. It is really good. I'm enjoying it. Of course I'm enjoying it. I enjoy everything. Yes, I know. Nothing wrong with being a positive person, Mr. Stevens.
Oh no, I know, absolutely. But there's also things of opinion as well.
That's pretty much my week, man. I've done nothing. I've done absolutely nothing. I've just been working.
No, fair, absolutely. Well, it's been like railing wise is a very interesting time right now. A very interesting time. There's a lot of transitions going on. So thankfully, I still have my job at this current point in time as we speak. But that could all change because I don't think anyone's got a fucking clue what's going on. So that's going on at the moment, which is great. But I smashed 6 deals in this week, so I'm pretty fucking happy with that. And I've already got 2 confirmed ready for next week. There were some backhanded comments made at work, so I'm now ready to shove that all up their asses. It's gonna be great. Anyway, moving on swiftly. I just want to get that out of my system and off my chest and everything else because do you know what? It's 2023 and we can pretty much say where the fuck we like and we will not be kept down or trodden on or anything. Not by the government, not by anybody. Fuck them. Anyway, so I watched Ant-Man Quantumania for the first time ever on Friday evening. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was really worried because I was like, fuck, the Marvel Universe is getting very... there's a lot of it, put it that way. And I'm getting a bit like, really, more superhero shit. Like, I'm starting to get quite bored of it. But I really enjoyed Ant-Man. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. Cleverly done, just really liked it a lot. I'm not one of them fucking idiots. It's like, oh well, you know, when he said this thing and then he did this jump and then his foot was actually out of shot a little bit. I'm not one of them people. I'm not going to analyze it. I don't care. It was just a really good, enjoyable film. Especially Keris made an audible gasp at one point, so I was like, oh, she's enjoying it. So there we are. So we watched that. Obviously, Secret Invasion's been released, and I'm like, do I need to have watched Guardians before I start this? So I'm just gonna wait for Guardians to come out, and then I've got those. I think I might be autistic or somewhat on some very, very small level, or I'm on the spectrum somewhere because I just have to watch shit in order. I can't deviate. I guess it must be an OCD thing. Even is what I meant to say. Sorry, autistic people. I take that back. I'm not going to start pretending to be one of you, like some people I know. Yeah. So it's just. I think it's an OCD. I get really like I think I've mentioned this in the show a while back. I have to check the episode number about 5 times before I click anything.
Yep.
It's it is that one, right? It is that one. It's because Keris got me watching You, right? So I started that a while ago. I've had to stop. It makes me feel a bit sick. And I thought I was on episode 7. I wasn't on episode 7, Jamie, because when I started watching the catch up, I was like, I don't remember this happening. I was on the episode before, and I was like, there we are. Don't want to watch that anymore. Not interested.
So from a catch up, you now don't want to watch it.
I watched it in the end, but I'm finding it too creepy. It's making me feel a bit sick.
Yeah,
like, I can't. I'm really struggling to watch it, so I'm a bit like. I know people love it, but I'm a bit like I can't stomach it. It just makes me feel really odd and weird, and I just no. Which obviously means it's a good show, surely, because it's making me feel. So than that, I've been trying to absolutely catch up with AEW because it's Forbidden Door tonight, and I'm nowhere near. I am nowhere near. So I'm 3 shows behind. I'm on the Collision debut. So watching that. What else have I done? Watching a lot of Frasier, season 6, episode 17 or 18 now. I love that show so much. There was an episode recently, I think it was a couple of days ago, I was watching it at night, and then Keris was falling asleep. But it was so funny that I couldn't not laugh out loud, and I kept waking her up. It was, like episodes that are like a series of events that keep happening and following on, and you just can't help but like die every time. It was one of those. So we love shit. We love shit like that.
Sorry, I know you've watched Frasier before. Is this the first time you've watched it all the way through, or have you watched it all before?
I haven't watched it before. I've seen a lot of episodes before, but not in order, not properly. So it'd be like he'd be dating someone, then the next one I'd watch, he'd be like, "Who the fuck's that? What's that? What's happened there? Why are they living there now?" So I've not actually watched it properly. So this is the first time ever I'm watching it properly in order. But there's been quite a lot of episodes that I've already seen that have come on. I'm like, oh, I love this episode. So yeah, I watched that properly. Like you say, we did 2 absolutely fantastic interviews this week. Very excited to release those. We are building our 2000 Trees interviews, ready for Trees in a week and a half's time, which we're very, very excited for. So if you are at Trees, we're looking forward to seeing you. Make sure you come and say hello to us. It'd be grand to see you all there. Other than that, James, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Oh yeah, last night. So last night, Gareth went away, so I decided to work on some emails, send some emails, do some stuff for the podcast. And my brother texted me and was like, "Oh, that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is released, Shredder's Revenge on PS5, and they've gone back to old roots. So it's like a Sega game, like an arcade thing.
Oh, okay.
Graphics are a little bit, obviously are better, but it's very similar of the Turtles games from the Sega Mega Drive. We played it for 6 hours.
Jesus Christ.
We were having the time of our lives. So
6 hours.
6 hours. We started at 8 o'clock.
Fucking hell. Fair play.
It was great. It was so much fun. And I had Domino's pizza and we just chilled and just chatted, and it was really nice. The game's amazing. We finished it twice. It's so good. So yeah, highly recommend for anybody that, you know, fancies a bit of a beat 'em up, not really have to pay attention sort of game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is out now on PS5.
That's one hell of an endorsement for a game. You finish it twice in one night. Fucking hell.
It was awesome. So much fun. But yeah, on that note, James, we're all caught up.
We're all caught up. So shall we go check in with our friend over there, Mr. Braden Barry?
At Stay Cozy Clothing, absolutely.
All right. Is this thing on?
Well, howdy doody, everybody. This is Braden Barry from Say We Can Fly, founder of Stay Cozy Clothing, your one-stop shop for the coziest, most fashionable hoodies, t-shirts, and more.
Gosh, Mickey. That's right, folks. And we're proud to say that we are now sponsoring
the Chronicles of Podcast. Ouch.
Hosted by Tom and Jamie.
Like, you can get 10% off, man! That's right, Shaggy! Just use the special code, The Chronicles, at checkout.
Oh, boy!
I'll say it once. I've said it before. I say it every week. Greatest advert of all time.
Oh, yes,
hands down. Hands fucking down. And now, Jamie, it's time for your favourite segment of the week.
Yeah, it is.
It's time for Callum's Treachings.
Do you want to know something? Callum will be able to tell you in Callum's Treachings.
Is cereal soup?
Ooh.
Callum is back to treat the nation once again with his infinite wisdom. So let us begin. Jamie, what is Callum treating us this week?
We get dressed up for people that we want to get undressed with.
He's not wrong.
Do you know what I find with people that dress up and stuff? Like, obviously back in the clubbing days when we used to actually go out and shit, like people would dress up, but they you know, and they clearly dress up. Some people dress up for attention, people dress up for whatever reason. The people that you then give attention to are like, "Come, I don't want to. What are you doing here? You?"
Yeah.
Do you ever find that?
It's weird because I know some people like to dress up not for attention, but just because they just want to feel good about themselves. Fair enough. But it's the people that are like dress up, clearly like giving signals to people, clearly doing stuff to get attention in their behavior, and then you give them attention, like go away. Like, huh?
That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I'm on about. Yeah. And you're just like, hang on a second. You've clearly. This is like it's just that you just want people to see that people are ogling over you and want to talk to you, that sort of thing, and then you're like, you can fuck off.
Yeah, you don't want the attention, you want the effort of attention, if that makes sense.
But it happens everywhere. It happens both ways. It happens both ways
well. that was
guys were exactly the same.
That was a both way thing. Yeah, absolutely.
I always just be like, really? Want to talk to me? Okay. But I just like meeting people. I like meeting people, making new friends, like just hanging out and chatting to people. Like I love that shit. So, you know, I never had any ulterior motives. It was just like, let's hang out, let's have a chat. Do you want a drink? Let's chinwag. Let's do this shit. Obviously, in a club, fucking horrific. So be like, right? Yeah, what? No, I don't like doors. What? Oh, dogs? Yeah, I love dogs. Yeah, nuts. But yeah, Callum makes an absolutely avidly excellent point there.
I like that. It's such a good idea. What always makes me laugh is it always makes me think of Bridget Jones. I don't know if you've seen the Bridget Jones movies.
No.
Where she gets like the biggest granny pants known to man on, and then dresses up really nice on top of it. So when she pulls and comes back, she's taking off her clothes. She's like, shit. Who's all she's got under there is big old granny pants.
But why should that matter?
It shouldn't matter at all. It just makes me laugh. I'm like, you see the amount of effort people put into to, like, as you say, go home and then get undressed again. It's fucking great.
That's all about comfort. I've never understood it, where girls want to wear heels that like break their feet within the space of an hour. You're like, why? So here's your fuck your feet up range. Just here. So if you got to go from heels up here, they're a little bit smaller down here, a bit more stiletto-y at the top. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to break your feet within 30 minutes, they're up here. If you want to break your feet in 2 hours, they're down here, okay?
The one thing that's never got me in the whole making an effort sort of thing, and I don't understand, like you say with shoes there, the one for me is it's the middle of winter and you see girls out there with like a boob tube and a dress that might as well be a belt. I'm like, you must be fucking freezing, love.
That's
Put some bloody
out.
Clothes on.
The dad in you's coming out there, Joe. The dad in you is coming out.
Even when I was younger, they'll be like, fair play. I'm like, but she's fucking cold though.
People do what they want, don't they? At the end of the day, if that's what they want to do to impress, then by all means. This is a very like subject where you're like, am I saying the right things here? Like, I'm not trying to sound misogynistic. I don't want to be, like, bloody hell, what the fuck are you wearing that for? Fucking stay to you. No, absolutely not. There's nothing wrong with that at all. If you want to wear thread, you wear thread. Anyway, Jamie,
everyone has an opinion. But everyone can do what the fuck they like behind it.
Let's get off this subject. Yes. And secondly, Jamie, what else is Callum teaching us this week?
Bald eagles aren't, in fact, bald.
The man can do no wrong.
Well, I feel like he saw a picture of a bald eagle and went, motherfucker, they've been lying to us.
There's them filled with feathers. I bet the eagle's like, you all think I'm bold and feel sorry for me, when actually, maybe the national bird now. Fuck them. Now let's destroy it. We'll take them from within. That's what we'll do. You think you want to call me fucking bold, you prick? That's not a noise, obviously. An eagle diving. They don't sound like a plane going down. I'm at 246 kilometers west, 2,000 kilometers east. I'm going down. It's
so beautiful, Karen.
It's the Mayday call.
Why are they called bald eagles then if they're not bald?
I suppose it's because they give the impression they look bald, don't they? Because they've got the white head and they're brown. So I'm assuming it gives off. But Americans obviously like to phrase things of what they do on them. So like sidewalk, because it's on the side and they walk on
it. Trash can. It's a can and we put trash in it. You're absolutely right. That probably is what it is.
Exactly.
Oh, it's an eagle and it looks like it's bald. Bald eagle. There you go. Hey.
That is such a good point. I was really quickly while you were talking trying to think of other things that like sound stupid but actually aren't the case of whether don't know what their name actually is. But I can't think of anything fast enough. So what we'll do is we'll leave that little beauty there and we'll go on to finally, Jamie. What else is Callum teaching us week this?
It's probably a good thing that we can't hear our eyeballs move inside their sockets.
Oh wow!
Callum.
Wow! Wilson's son. Wow! Interesting. I wonder what it would sound like. Do you reckon it'd be gloopy or do you reckon it'd be swishy?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I'm thinking it's probably going to be gloopy. If it's swishy, there's a lot of room to move there. I feel like more.
But there's no. I'm trying to think because I've studied the eye, very, very small, and I think it would be. You said gloopy, didn't you? I don't think there's any actual apart from tears, there's no real actual moisture going on in there, I don't think, off the top of my head. I think it'd be, so you might be right.
Especially when you're rolling your eyes because it's like just sick of someone.
It'd be so funny if it'd be like shutters. Let go, like blank. So like in cartoons, and they do that, and they like that sort of thing, and be like that's you could hear like the irises and the pupils moving and stuff like that.
Even worse if other people could hear them. Are you asleep, Dave? No, mate. I just heard your eyes close.
You're not a fucking sleep, Steve. I can hear him. See exactly. You're fucking looking around at the moment. Even though it's dark, you can't see a fucking thing. You silly sausage.
You roll your eyes at me? No. I fucking heard him, mate. Get in so much trouble.
Yeah, you couldn't get away with it, could you? You couldn't get away with anything. If Becky was having a go at you, you're like, fucking hell. What you want your hands for me, you fucking dickhead? It's like, is it Lee Evans talks about how they can hear when you murmur to yourself. You had a massive fight, and they walk off and you go, you're a fucking dickhead anyway. Like, what did you just fucking say? And what was going to say? He's like, I didn't fucking do anything anyway. What'd you fucking say? Oh, so good. It's one of those things, though, isn't it? If someone pisses you off and they turn around, you go, but then they always like it's almost like they can just sense it, like it's some sort of superhero like power that they have. They just go, and you go, yeah, really? Would you want to do some about it then? Like, no, I said, did you want ice cream later? I mean, we can stick it on the cones. These lolly sticks, we can stick on the cones. Like, no, I haven't got away with that one, have I? No. You die now.
Yeah, stick it on the cones. I like that.
I don't know how we got from what sound eyeballs make to pissing off your missus, but
I don't know how we get from A to B most of the time on this show, to be fair, so it's fine.
It'd be great as if you got older, your eyes got creakier. And then when you shut your eyelids, it made the sound of a door closing. Oh, so good. So fucking good. Callum, once again, you have absolutely blessed us with wonderful treats, sir. Wonderful treats that we enjoy thoroughly on a weekly basis. We don't know what we would do without you, sir.
Oh.
But now, I now have to follow.
You do.
It's time for Tom's Journal.
Read to me.
And welcome to another edition of Tom's Journal. Welcome to another edition of Tom's Journal. I get excited every week for this, especially when I find gold. So, Jamie,
yes.
Why are plane tickets so expensive? You're going that way anyway. Just give me a ride.
I really mean it's going to cost you nothing extra. You might as well just let me come on board with you.
Yeah. Why are they charging us £15,000 to fucking fly to Malta when you're flying that way anyway? Just let us go. You can check my passport, make sure I'm not a criminal or a cannibal or anything. Just let me fucking you going there. Might as well go here. But I suppose they did that. Obviously, the queues would be insane, wouldn't they? Could you imagine trying to get back in home? Oh, Jesus Christ. Be the worst. It'd be like Asian people trying to get on trains. Fucking get to Elwood. Yeah, fucking fight them to get there. There'd be no queuing. Queuing would be dead.
Carnage in every airport.
But then as a Brit, you'd be like, 91 planes later.
So this is my place in the queue, and it's only fair to stay here, quite frankly.
Yeah. But they've been waiting longer than us, so I'll wait behind them.
They've only got a small bag. We've got a big suitcase. Let them go in front, love. Let them go in front.
Somebody purchased a chopping board, right? and looked at the sticker on the bottom of the chopping board. This is what the chopping board sticker said. Wood chopping board with the barcode. Wipe clean only. Wipe up spills immediately to avoid staining. Do not soak. Do not use as a chopping board.
Wait, what?
It genuinely says that on the sticker.
I was with you then. I was like, I get it. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Do not use as a chopping board. What else are you supposed to do with it? That is clearly someone's last day in the office. It's one of them situations. Let's be a dick before I get out of it. Let's add that to the label.
It's like bags of peanuts to say may contain nuts on the back.
Yeah. I get that one, though, because it's legal, but it's stupid, but I get it. But,
do you reckon that they have to write shit like that for some reason? I don't... No, I mean the chopping boards as well. Do they have to write that for a particular... Is there a particular law? British law is so fucked up these days. We have to declare everything is everything and then not everything at the same time. Like, we're very to the letter about it.
But why would you do not use as a chopping board on anything? It's kind of a given. You're not going to buy a new bloody, I don't know, soft toy and do not use as a chopping board, obviously.
Have you met people?
Fair point. Yeah, can't argue that one. Yeah, if you've got me there, that was a very good argument, sir.
I feel that this is something that you and Becky talk about. Jamie, what is the difference between Iron Man and Iron Woman?
Go on.
One is a superhero, the other is a simple command. I thought you might enjoy that.
I'm not that brave. I'm hated enough.
Fair enough. Just thought it was funny. That was all. Jamie, just because I loved you at one point doesn't mean I will always love you. I'm not fucking Whitney Houston.
Fucking better do that.
Well, this just got a little bit awkward. Anywho. I've got a question for you.
Go on then.
You wake up as Superman. What is the first thing you do?
Oh, that is a good question. Now, am I waking up with Superman's powers or am I waking up as Clark Kent Superman?
You wake up as Superman. What is the first thing you do? Don't think about it so logically. You're Superman, for fuck's sake.
Jump out of bed and wonder where the fuck I am, probably.
Okay. This person said, go back to sleep and hopefully wake up to be Batman.
Yes!
To which someone then replied, yes, because if I woke up as an alien demigod who can fly at supersonic speeds and lift an aircraft carrier above his head, the first thing I think is, I wish I was an unstable orphan in a bat costume.
Yeah, but he's fucking cool, though. I mean, I'm on board with that guy. I don't care.
Emos don't get an Uber. They get a death cab for cutie.
Oh, fuck that. That is... Oh, that's 2 for 2 with the Fallout Boy one last week as well.
That was definitely one of my favourites. That was absolutely amazing. That was. Oh. So, this was in an agony aunt section, and when I read it, was like, this can't be fucking real, and apparently it is. Dear Miriam, my husband is a druid, and I'm worried that he wants to sacrifice me at Stonehenge. I am 41 and my husband is 43. We've been married for 23 years, and every solstice and equinox, he gets out a big bronze knife and tries to persuade me to come to Stonehenge with him so he can sacrifice me to ensure a good harvest next year. I always make an excuse as to why I can't go with him, like I've got a headache or my mum's got a bad leg, but my excuses are wearing thin. He says that lots of his druid friends have sacrificed their wives, and I am just being stubborn. I don't want to get sacrificed, but I'm afraid I'll lose him if I don't give him what he wants. Please help me, Miriam. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do for the best.
Oh my God, there's so much here.
Right? Yeah? Wait. Do you want to hear Miriam's reply?
I was about to say, please tell me how Miriam's reply.
Miriam says, "It sounds to me that you have been leading your druid husband up the garden path a bit by making excuses every solstice and equinox. Why can't you come to Stonehenge to have your throat slit or to be eviscerated? You may have given him the impression that you would be happy for him to sacrifice you to appease the gods when it is convenient. You need to have a heart-to-heart with your man and tell him that you love him, but that you do not want to be sacrificed in any circumstance. It may be that he finds himself another woman to sacrifice on his pagan altar, but I'm afraid that's just a chance you will have to take. I hope your marriage proves strong enough to survive this test, but remember, it is your feelings that should be paramount."
What's really bizarre and upsetting and concerning is I can kind of see what Miriam's getting at, really. You know, she was making excuses. She never once said she didn't want this to happen. She was just honest in the first place. Maybe we wouldn't be here today.
I mean, do you remember when I said, have you met people? Like, does she genuinely think that her husband's going to fucking kill her in front of loads of people?
Well, all of his friends have, so you never know.
Just nuts. Do you reckon it's like, but has she then seen them wives afterwards? Surely she must have done.
That's a good point, actually.
You know what I mean? Like, common sense should prevail here, surely. I just found that mental more than anything else.
Is this genuine or satire?
It's on a newspaper article.
It's fucked
It's
up.
newspaper written, so it's not. It's got to be real.
Surely Miriam's response should be, "I'll call the police for you."
Get a life.
Instead of going, have a heart-to-heart with your potential murderer boyfriend and tell him that he don't want to be killed.
Nuts. Absolutely. Do you reckon she got that and went, oh, bloody hell. Karen, I got another one. Fucking hellfire. How do I respond to this? Let's use ChatGPT. It'll be fun. So, James, a blue whale is larger than a basketball court. Americans will fucking use anything but the metric system, eh? Come within 3 whales of America and say that.
Oh my god, it's so funny because it's so true.
I mean, you laughed at I didn't think you'd laugh. I thought you'd laugh at the actual last part rather than the bit that was just not.
It was just funny because it's true. I've heard other Americans say things are the size of this. Like, we all know how much I love Kevin Smith. He measures things in jaws. People are like, so it's free jaws as in the shark.
Oh, okay.
It's free lots of jaws the shark. Okay, now I know how big it is.
I just love come within 3 whales of America and say that.
I was too busy choking to react to that bit of the time, sorry. That is fucking brilliant. Oh, I enjoyed that one. I think I enjoyed that more than you expected me to.
I think, yeah. I was a bit like, Jesus Christ, he's already gone. I haven't got to the punchline yet. I feel that this is your daughter.
Okay.
Parents need to get better at teaching their kids that swear words aren't actually bad. They're only just appropriate in certain contexts. This 9-year-old girl at the grocery store just held up a bag of cauliflower rice and said, "What the fuck is this?" And she deserves a fucking Oscar.
I mean, if there's ever a thing to feel appropriate to shout, "What the fuck is this?" That's exactly, cauliflower rice.
I knew you would love that.
I fucking hate cauliflower rice.
I knew you would love that.
But no, the kid's weird about swearing, especially lately. She keeps thinking swear words are words that aren't even swear words. She's convinced herself that stupid is a swear word.
That can't be a good thing if she's going to school being like, fucking dickhead, what the fuck you on about?
As long as it's not the other way around, yeah. She's like, swear words are normal. But normal words are swear words. Miss Price, you won't fucking believe what happened. Oh, that was stupid. Don't swear.
Let's move on, shall we? Whilst helping my daughter with her World War II homework, she asked when they'd learned about Captain America and Hydra, or the box Indiana Jones found that melts people because that's when things will get cool. I can't decide if it means I'm failing as a father or absolutely crushing it.
Crushing it, sir. Crushing it.
Me. Not today, Satan. Satan, look, you've been cancelling our plans for weeks now. If it's something I said, can you please just tell me?
Poor Satan. No one ever thinks of his feelings in his plans, do they?
No, exactly. And finally, Jamie, I'll end on this. My 11-year-old son just discovered Tetris. Came home to boast about scoring 15,000 points. So I cracked my knuckles, played for the first time in 25 years, and dropped 73,000 points on his head. Now he's angrily muttering to himself, and I'm doing karate kicks on the front porch. And that was another edition of Tom's Journal.
Do you remember those things in the 90s you'd be able to get like a handheld device, about 250 versions of Tetris on it?
Really?
Yeah, it was like a Game Boy sort of thing, and it just had like tons of different versions of Tetris.
How can you have different versions of that game? It's just blocks falling.
I can't remember now. It was a long time ago, but I remember they existed.
That's nuts. I'd love to see Tetris with wavy shapes.
That'd be wicked, wouldn't it?
They'd be absolutely fucked. No way. 2 blocks down. I say, I'm bollocks, mate. I'm bollocks. I fucked it already. I suppose we should bring in that piece, James, to save your voice a little bit.
Oh yeah, we definitely should.
Welcome to the Chronicles of Joe Matera.
Joe Matera is an Australian singer, songwriter, and author, writing for magazines like Guitar Player, Record Collector, Metal Hammer. He's interviewed artists like Kiss and Queen. And as I said, he's an author. He's got his own book, Backstage Pass, The Grit and the Glamour. This is absolutely amazing. But that's just his writing credits. He's also a kick-ass musician with 5 studio albums of some incredible rock and roll. And The Lone Runner, his most recent album, is a complete departure where it's more like ambient ethereal music. This is a very, very talented man and a fantastic guest, a wonderful conversation.
This is a very good interview. I've been very excited to release this one, actually. So ever since we spoke to Joe about a month ago, I think it was now. So we apologise for the delay in getting this one out, Joe. But what a guest, what an interview. I'm really excited for you guys to hear this one because it was conducted at midnight our time.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very, very late one and a very, very early one for him. But, those time zones, motherfuckers, is unbelievable. But Joe's an absolutely wonderful human, really nice guy, and we can't wait for the world to hear his story. Jamie!
Yes, sir.
Any final words at all?
Just a massive thank you to our wonderful guest, Joe. Thank you to reaching out to us and asking to come on. It means the absolute world. It was amazing to sit and talk to you and hear your story. And yeah, everyone, you're going to enjoy this one. And please go check out Joe's music. Go buy a copy of his book. Give this man all the love and support.
Absolutely. Please do. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time out to sit and chat to us. And we really appreciate it. We loved it. And like we said, we're very excited for people to hear this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, interviewing this week, it's Joe Matera.
G'day, guys. How are you? Tom and Jamie.
Hey, there he is.
Hey, how are you?
Very good. Yourself?
I'm very good. Midnight over there in England.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Please bear with us.
Hey, don't worry. I used to do all those sort of times when I used to be in rock bands and sort of stuff. Late mornings at 4 a.m. You come home at 5 a.m. So, yeah, I know what it's like.
Oh, your accent's amazing. I love the Australian accent. So if I mimic in any way, I don't mean to. It's just because I pick it up off you. So I do apologize now if I start being like, fucking hell, Joe, what's going on here, mate? Fucking hell. It's just like,
to be fair,
yeah, that's fine.
I was going to say, as soon as I heard you talk, I could just see the glint in Tom's eyes. He was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Well, I like your accent. So, hang on, so you're obviously slightly different parts of England, is that right?
Yeah. I live in the Midlands, in Birmingham, right. And he's an anomaly. He's Scottish, who grew up in England and now lives in Wales.
Oh, you live in Wales? Okay, whereabouts? In Cardiff?
I was in Cardiff, but I'm now in Newport, which is just outside of Cardiff. It's the city next over, so it's all right. I wouldn't recommend it.
And what's Birmingham like? The Birmingham, the city that invented heavy metal.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's a city, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think the prestige and the heritage is kind of there anymore. This day and age, kids are too obsessed with their phones and TikTok and whatnot now to actually appreciate, the metal genre, the music, etc., and where it all came from. So, but they just made a bench to Black Sabbath, didn't they, Jamie?
Yes, we've got Black Sabbath bridge.
Bridge.
It's got like a little. It's like a bench with the 4 heads on there and stuff like that.
Okay. Oh, excellent. I've done quite a few shows in England over the years, but I've never been in that sort of part of England. I've been up north. I've done gigs in Bolton. Yes, Bolton. Yes, I should mention that. Lancaster and London itself, and but I've travelled quite a few places around England. So yes.
Joe, we'll get into it shortly, but thank you so much for reaching out, my friend. Like, we really appreciate you hitting us up. Obviously, to come on the show and whatnot. So it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me on your show.
No, not at all, not at all. So basically, just a quick rundown. I know you've seen bits of it online and whatnot, but Jamie's going to do a nice little introduction, basically to make you feel nice at ease and you feel like lure you into that false sense of security where you feel safe and secure. This is going to be in a really nice place to be. And then we're going to absolutely bombard the living hell out of you with questions. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. No worries. Okay.
Amazing. Also, we're more than happy if you swear everything. It doesn't matter. You're more than welcome to say whatever you like here, providing obviously we don't salute any Nazis. Say we're a fan of Lost Prophets or or anything like that. We'll leave all of that over there. So.
Excellent. Okay, the banner cannot be mentioned.
Yes,
that's them.
Yes, them.
That's them.
I couldn't think of a third. I was trying to think of a third really quick and I couldn't think of anything.
No, not boy bands, right?
Yeah.
Right, to do my little introduction and we can get this underway. Ladies and gentlemen, today we bring you another wonderful guest. Today's guest is not only an incredible guitarist and musician who has just released his amazing 5th studio album, The Lone Runner, he's also a journalist writing for publications like Metal Hammer and Classic Rock, talking to artists like Queen, Foo Fighters, and a band I'm excited to hear about, Kiss. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from 9 hours in the future, from the world down under, this week we bring you the Chronicles of Joe Matera.
Thank you so much, guys. Yes, it's a pleasure to be there. I'm coming all the way from the future.
All the way from the future. You need to send us the lottery numbers, Joe.
That's right. Yes, I'll tell you what. I'll take that. They're just coming up now.
Did I pronounce your surname correctly? I forgot to double check before we started going.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful. Joe, I suppose we should start off with the hard hitting shit straight away, which was how was your pandemic season? I know it's kind of it's disappearing a bit now, but like how have the last few years been for you?
Look, the pandemic pretty much screwed my touring schedule and my shows because, like everybody else, all the touring had stopped. Up to that point, before the pandemic, I was coming to Europe once a year, doing tours all around Europe and Scandinavia, and I was planning to come back in 2020, but that put a stop to it. So basically, with no gigs and no sort of playing opportunities, I just fell back into my music journalism and just went back to writing for magazines full time, which I used to do for back in the 2000s. And so now I've sort of incorporated both my music journalism and my playing and recording career together. So now I've got sort of 2 outlets again.
Yeah, because Australia kind of went, nobody's allowed in and nobody's allowed out. Nothing is happening. This is it now. This is Australia. Whoever's here, you live here forever.
That's right, absolutely. And look, the beauty of what I did was basically because I already had been overseas and connected with other musicians, already worked with them. It allowed me to collaborate more with those musicians just via the internet. Which I did quite a few projects. I mean, over the pandemic period, I ended up writing my first book, which gave me time to finally do that. I put together another album. The Lone Runner actually came together during that period, which was a bit of an experiment for me. So I had so many projects, and now I'm even busier than ever before. So hopefully, as we move forward, I will be coming back to Europe. But at the moment, sort of it's like everything else around the world. It's pretty expensive to tour, and it's pretty chaotic in the in the sense you could be on tour next minute, you could be stuck somewhere. So until things sort of settle down a bit, it's just going to be just play by ear. But I'm keeping busy. I've still got heaps of projects that I'm working on, and more things coming out soon.
Beautiful, absolutely love it, Joe. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, though, take us back to the days of young Master Matera. What did you want to be when you were a young man? Was it always music for you, or was it like train driver? I don't know.
Oh, no, definitely no. My parents wish I was a train driver, but no, I always wanted to be a musician, first and foremost, I was always very good at writing. I mean, that's one of the subjects I did do really well in at school. Everything else I sort of didn't do too well, but I didn't care because music was the only thing that was I wanted to do. But having said that, it's not something that I sort of went out and say, look, I'm going to just focus on this. I mean, like everything else, I went out, just got a normal day job, and got married, that sort of stuff for the first time, and it just eventually I just sort of just kept doing what I do, and I just fell into sort of opportunities that arose, and then the internet happened, and once the internet happened back in the early 90s, I was on it pretty quickly, and I just started sort of connecting and with some artists, and just took it from there. So it sort of fell into place, but it's always been there. I mean, it's not something I had a plan like, okay, at the age of this, say 21, I'm going to do this, because I don't think anybody can do that. I mean, I've read bios where they said, I know what I want to do, and I was going to do it. Well, life throws you all sorts of things. You just go with it. It just, when you're on the right path, eventually it will open up for you. So, and you got there's been it's a hard slog. It's not something that just sort of came pretty easy. I've worked my butt off in order to get where I am. So, and many people say, is it a pretty lucrative business? And I say no, because I do it because it's a lifestyle. It's I do it for the music. It's not for the money. I say to people, if you want to go into music to make money, I suggest you don't. Just become a lawyer, because you can make much more money from becoming a lawyer.
Sorry, Jamie.
I was going to say, it's a thing you find with a lot of musicians. They say there ain't a lot of money in doing this. We do it because we love it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, even the big touring bands. I mean, look, it's the percentage of those sort of bands, like say Def Leppard, those Kiss. I mean, that's a very small percentage you can make money out of that, but that's because they've been around for a long time, and the money that goes into production. I mean, it's not cheap to put on a tour. It costs a lot of money. So, and I think the big thing is, songwriting is the core to earning on, because basically if you write a song, each time it gets played, each time it gets aired, you're making money from it. And that's one thing that's guaranteed. But you got to really be a big artist. I mean, Ed Sheeran's probably one of the rare artists who can really sort of say he's got a hell of a lot of money. But again, he's got an entourage of a lot of people, which means there's a lot of wages being paid out. So it's a business. It's the musician's sort of just the one person. Then there's all these other people around it, that you need for that machine to keep going.
That, I think Kiss basically just went, can we put our faces on absolutely everything so we can make as much money as possible? Because, guys, there's no money there. Let's just make lighters and skateboards and lighting and God knows what else. Am I facing it? Put it on there.
Yeah, look, Kiss has always been a commercial venture. Even Gene Simmons said to me many years ago when I spoke to him, it was all about the business for them. He even admitted they're not the greatest musicians on the planet. And he even admitted that a lot of those classic Kiss albums don't even have the members playing on them, So it's basically a purely business thing. But, good luck to him. I mean, he always said, I think there was an interview he did once where he said he hoped to start a religion called Christianity, rather than Christianity. So, I mean, he's doing a great job with it.
It's the most Gene Simmons quote I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's a really old interview he did, and I thought that was pretty ironic because the way they went about with their merchandise, it is. I mean, it's a pretty much they're everywhere. I mean, who doesn't know Kiss and that famous logo? As soon as you see that logo, you know it's Kiss.
Absolutely. And then there's idiots like me that buy it, so it clearly works.
And myself too.
it was just going back to your school days very quickly. I always find it weird that teachers are literally like, what do you want to do yourself? You're 16 now, or whatever. I don't know how it works in Australia, but it's like, you're 16 now, you should know what you want to do. What do you mean you don't know? You know, go and do your A-levels, go to university, go study this, go study that. It's like, well, hang on a second, because I'm 35, and I still haven't got a fucking clue what I want to do in my life. So,
that's true, you know. And look, you don't. I mean, anyone who says at the age of 15 they know what they're going to do is bullshit, because basically you don't know. You're still trying to find who you are. I mean, it takes a long time. I mean, I'm, you know, at my age now, I'm finding comfortable in my own skin and know who I am and what I want to do. But, you know, if I go back even, you know, half my age, I still didn't know what I want to do. I just sort of just went along and just, you know, hopefully things worked out. And so that is correct. Look, at school, I think school is, yeah, I mean, back in my day, it was, you know, I remember telling my careers teacher saying I want to become a musician. And he said to me, oh, nah, you know, it doesn't, find yourself a better job, you know. I mean, one of the teachers I was in, one of the classrooms said to me, I've never achieved anything in my life because all I cared about was music. And I love to go back now because I love to say, well, you know, I have achieved all these things with believing in what I wanted to do. So I think teachers don't give, you know, enough sort of encouragement just for your students to just be who they are, not try and push their own agenda or values, because everybody's different, you know. Like, you know, who would have thought heavy metal become this respected genre that everybody loves? I mean, you know, when it started, it was like, oh, heavy metal, what is this, you know? So everything has got a benefit to it, you know. You just got to allow people to be who they are.
Absolutely. And you can guarantee these people who are like, musician, that's not a real job, and then they'll go get in their car, put the radio on and really enjoy a song. It's like, who do you think made that?
yeah That's right. You know, isn't it? I find it real ironic that, you know, you have sports stars who just want to be rock stars. Everybody wants to be a rock star. I mean, even the way they talk at the news, they're saying, oh, you know, rock star welcome, you know, like to a politician. I mean, it shows you that, you know, here they are, used to say years ago, oh, music's not a real job. It is a real job. My music job is basically 24/7 for me. It's like, that's what I do. It's a lifestyle. It's a job. It's not something that's a hobby for me. It's actually a real serious thing. But I enjoy what I do, and the joy that it gives to people is what is the most satisfaction of my whole work. You know, like just reading an article. If people get something from my article and it brings a smile on their face, they've learned something, I'm happy with it. If my music gives them a bit of, you know, something to forget about their worries for, you know, a time, fantastic. I mean, that's the greatest satisfaction, more than, say, monetary reward.
So I know you started playing guitar from a very young age, but where did that love of music come from to make you even want to pick up that guitar in the first place?
I always love listening to music. I mean, excuse me. The Beach Boys, my first album was when I age 4. I got my parents to buy me the Beach Boys Pet Sounds album, which is a classic album, and I just loved the sounds on it, and it just got me in love with the with music, you know. And then as for guitar, there was a show in Australia called Countdown, which is very much like Top of the Pops in the UK, and I used to sit that religiously and just watch it, and, you know, see all these rock stars on there coming out with their guitars, you know, and all the girls screaming. I go, wow, you know, I want to play guitar. And I actually, and the funny thing is, I actually started on bass guitar. So I learned to play bass for about 6 months, and I realized it's pretty boring that, you know, you're just playing these notes and you're a bit of a backup. I wanted to be much more the person up front playing all these wonderful leads. So I changed to guitar, and I'm self-taught, totally self-taught guitar. I listened to a lot of records growing up, and by ear learned how to play things. And I learned how to play guitar that way. So my music tastes are very varied. I'll listen to anything from jazz to metal to classical to you name it, because I think it's important to appreciate all styles of music and not be a snob or purist and say, oh, you know, that style of music. Because really, I mean, you'll be surprised how many metal guys actually love the opposite styles of music. For example, I don't know if you know, but Brian Johnson tried to write a musical, you know, like a stage musical, as in classical ballet. So people will go, what? Brian Johnson, the lead singer of AC/DC? I go, yeah. I mean, Angus Young is a painter. He paints just quietly in his so there's so many different sort of sides to an artist that people may not think. They just think it's all about heavy metal all the time. You know, it's not. You can't listen to that style of music non-stop, because it'll drive you mad. You got to have sort of a balance to it. So
That's like us growing up when we were growing, obviously, when like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were a thing, and people secretly, we're like, "Oh my god, that shit's on," but deep down, you're like, "Oh my god, I actually love it." Like, just really need a bit of NSYNC right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Look, like the boy band stuff, really seriously. I mean, they have some great songs. I mean, again, it's the people who write those songs. I mean, they do catch you. I mean, you can't stop catching yourself tapping along to it. So, and that is a specific market, boy bands. I mean, it's aimed at sort of teenage girls, whatever. So, and it works. I mean, Kiss, you could say, was a boy band because basically they aimed at the teenage boys and girls, and they did the job. So, Sex Pistols, when you listen to Sex Pistols, you can't tell me that that's an actual real punk band. I mean, they got the punk energy, but when you listen to the album, that's a purely polished album that was so catchy that, you can sing those riffs now, so there's a lot of influences, and it's interesting because Johnny Rotten recently mentioned how much the Sex Pistols were listening to ABBA. Now, can you imagine if that came out back in the 70s and said they were listening to ABBA? Their street cred would have gone out the window. But now everyone claims ABBA's a great band and great influence. Now, go figure.
That's mental.
Yeah.
You find it though, like you listen to a lot of like the hardcore extreme metal stuff, you're hearing strings in the back of there, you're hearing organ sound, you're hearing like this classical music sound. So you're like, see, you're not just listening to people scream all day, you're listening to some classical music, and there's the influence coming through right there.
Absolutely. And you put a metal band with, say, a classical band, a classical orchestra, it's heavy, man. It's much more heavy than an actual heavy metal band, back in the day, Mozart was the rock star of his time. He was a wild, classical sort of musician who, today you would say, bloody hell, he's a cool rock star.
Who influenced you, Joe?
Oh, there's a lot of influence on me, but basically, look, my first band, I learned a lot of guitar stuff was the Shadows. The Shadows influenced every nearly British guitar player on the planet, from that generation. So, Queen, AC/DC, Kiss, even Blondie. I just listen to everything. So I can't really pinpoint one sort of band or artist that influenced me because I get influences from everything. But they're the sort of bands I grew up with, the classic rock era of the 70s. That's my period of reference frame for all my music, really.
Okay. What I love about your story is there's so many little side adventures that you go on. It's like a video game. It's like journalism that we'll talk about in a bit. You play guitar. You did musical theatre performing in Les Mis. And you were even a guitar teacher at one point. So for someone who's self-taught, how did you learn, actually to read and write music as well in order to teach it?
I did. I put myself through. I did 4 years of music theory, and I did that to understand music. But seriously, music theory, it's good to know, but I never actually used it in my lessons because all my lessons, the students, all they wanted to learn was like Nirvana and Metallica. So, when I was doing guitar lessons, basically, full time during the 90s. The biggest request I ever had was Metallica, Nirvana, Guns N' Roses, and Green Day. They were the bands everybody wanted to learn guitar, and I basically was kept in the job by just teaching those songs. And they're great. Got kids just want to say, "Hey, can you show me how to play Enter Sandman?" Yeah, sure. So but yeah, like I said, I grew up in the era where we had vinyl records, and you learn to play by ear, and that develops your true musicianship because basically you're learning to play by ear. Nowadays, tablature, that's all good. That helps you to sort of learn to play quicker. But a lot of students I find who go down that route only don't even know when they're playing something wrong because it's basically visual. You got to learn to play by ear. You got to be able. I say to them, if I throw you into a band with musicians you've never played before, can you just go off and play something? Most of them go, no, I can't do that. How do you do that? And I go, well, that's where knowing to play by ear is very, very important because years I've played in bands or musicians I've never met to that night I've been on stage, and I just say to them, what key? And off we go, and we play, and we just jam. And I've had people come up to me and say, oh, you guys have been playing for years, and I go, no, I only met 5 minutes ago. So that's a generation I grew up with. Most of those guitar players can do that. I mean, I'm not saying there's guitar players or musicians who can't do that now, but all I'm saying is there's a heavy emphasis on internet sort of learning. You know, I mean, there is some great YouTube videos. Don't get me wrong, absolutely fantastic, and I think more power to them. I just think students need to sort of really be aware that how important the ear is, and just to make mistakes, because from your mistakes you learn from it. You know, I mean, don't be so perfect. Just go for it.
I love that. I love that. So saying that, you saying how the internet's advanced as well. Have you found yourself learning new techniques yourself as technology's like progressed?
I keep. I'm abreast of all the things that are happening now in the guitar world, and I'm not really much about that sort of technical player, as in like a Steve Vai player. I'm much more about the melody. I'm much more about. I'll just pick up my guitar if I hear something in my head. I'll just play it, or if I like a song, I'll work it out. It doesn't take me long to work out a song. I'm pretty. I'm pretty good at sort of saying if I hear a song once or twice, I'll just basically work it out and I can play it. You know, I mean, obviously the lead's going to take a bit longer, but I'm much more about my own stuff now. I mean, I've been for years. I've learned, all these sort of songs and played Metallica and all those sort of but it's just been stuff that I enjoy to play. Now it's like I want to concentrate on playing my own music.
Have you ever had moments where you've been in a situation, say, like, I don't know, going to sleep or in the shower, and you've had a moment where you just thought of a tune in your head and you go, shit, I need to write that down, or voice note it or whatever, like, oh my God, where's my phone? Quick before I forget.
Yeah, absolutely. I have that happens to me all the time. I'll be out walking or something, and an idea comes to me. So I've got a phone with me always, and I'll just I hum something. So a lot of my songs come that way. A lot of them do come when I'm just noodling around on the guitar. I'll hear something, go, this sounds really good. Quickly pull out my phone and put down the idea, and then later on I'll record demos. I'm always recording demos in my studio. I mean, I'm very good at coming up with music quickly. I mean, I've got hundreds and hundreds of riffs lying around that can be used for songs, but lyrics is a whole different ballgame. Lyrics can take a long time. They can take months sometimes. I mean, I've only really been lucky in writing a complete song, words, music in 15 minutes. And that was my very first vocal track, Fallen Angel, which came out about 12 years ago, and which is the song that broke me in Europe. And but that's one of those sort of rare moments where you wish you had a formula you could do that again. But most of the times, it does take many months to write lyrics because it's an important part of the song. But music wise, I mean, you could say to me, come up with something, and I'll just hear a riff and I'll do it.
Crazy.
Why is it you think that it takes you so long in lyrics? Is it just the ideas just don't come to you, or is there something?
Because it's much more like a story. It's like writing. I mean, when I'm writing a story, you're obviously thinking about it, and you write a story, and then you rewrite, and then you rewrite. I mean, like with my book, I rewrote that quite a few times in order to get to the polished stage. So, and you always come up with ideas with lyrics, and you want to make the story make sense. You want to condense it because you could write a novel and it won't be suitable for a song, because a song got to have basically maybe 3 verses and a chorus, and you got to say everything you need to say in that part. So it's a lot of times you might have a full page of lyrics, but then you got to cut it all down to make it into a condensed story. So it takes a lot more working with it. And like I said, Fallen Angel was just sort of one of those things. I was sitting on my bed actually with a guitar, and the chords came to me in about 5 minutes, and then the lyrics just poured out of me, a little story that I had. And and I wish I could do that all the time, but it doesn't work that way.
Have you ever had any lyrics personal at all, though, or story based?
All my lyrics are basically observation of life, real life. Yes, and some of them are very personal. Fallen Angel is actually part fact, part fiction. Part fact in the sense the story of a lady of the night and what happened to her is sort of I knew that person, but I turned it into a story of observation of celebrity culture, where people get lost in this fame and fortune and end up in a bad state, and how the pursuit, as we said at the start of the interview, of money or fame isn't really what it's about. It's about doing it for the passion of music, or passion of writing, or passion for whatever you do. So that's I mean, a lot of my songs are based on my own personal observations. And then I've got one song called Louder Than Words, which is basically got 3 different meanings, which I'm each person can find something from it. If you watch a video, you'll get one meaning. If you listen to the song lyrics itself, you'll get another meaning, and then there's another deeper meaning behind it. But I don't like to reveal that, because as songwriters, you want people to make up their own interpretations and then see what they get it from. But most of my music is very uplifting and positive.
I love that. And great song. I really enjoyed Louder Than Words.
Oh, thank you.
So, I was reading early in your career, you decided to move to Melbourne to focus, put all your energy into your music career. What was it that made you decide to actually move to Melbourne? What was it in Melbourne that you thought could help?
Well, that's where all the music scene is, and that's where the record companies were. So I had to go there and sort of, in order to do me journalism, because I could get calls like, can you be here in 30 minutes to interview, say, a band that's in town, and I have to do that because when I was living in the country, it was like 2 hours away, so there's no way I could do that. So I lived in Melbourne, for about 6 years, and now I live outside of Melbourne, so it doesn't worry me anymore. I mean, nowadays also post pandemic, a lot of artists are doing stuff via Zoom, which is what we're doing today. So, but yeah, look, now that you have to be there. There's a point in your career where if you're going to go serious about it, you have to move to the place you have to go. I mean, look in America. I mean, they go to LA in order to try and make it, or they go to New York. If you go to London, for example, in England. So you can't just stay in your hometown. There comes a time where you got to make a decision of, look, if I'm going to do this full time, I want to, or try and make it big, I have to go and stay there, and you got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's funny when you said that. I was thinking, how many songs are out there about a girl moving to LA with dreams of becoming an actress? It's such a trope.
Oh, absolutely. Look, yeah, and that is it's a universal theme. I mean, it's interesting because Fallen Angel, there's a song by Poison called Fallen Angel, which is sort of a girl who goes off to Hollywood and that sort of stuff. So and I love Poison now, but the thing about Fallen Angel, my song is I'm a huge Bryan Adams fan, and I love the riff to Run to You. So if you listen to Run to You, I took that riff, I reversed it, I changed the notes around, I added my own little bit to it, and I wrote my riff to it. And it's completely like when you hear it, it doesn't sound nothing like Bryan Adams, but you can hear that influence. And I was listening to Hysteria at the same time by Def Leppard, and it's got that sort of feel to it too. So there's all these influences that came to me, what I was listening to at the time. But then, you listen to the song, and it's totally me. I mean, it's got a very much classic 80s vibe to it. And it's got my, doing my guitar solo and that sort of stuff. So, I wear my influences on my sleeve. I'm not afraid to sort of, show them to the world, really.
I love it. I love that though, because so many musicians are like, no, this is me. Everything is me. And you go out and no, this person inspired me. This is my,
that's right.
I don't want to say tribute, but like I'm wearing on my sleeve, my fandom on my sleeve. I love that. It's amazing.
That's right. Look, there's nothing, I mean, really, seriously, what originality is about putting your own take on something to make it your own. And, you can't reinvent the wheel. The wheel's already invented, right? And in music, there's only 7 notes. I mean, as Ed Sheeran's recently showed in his court case, you can take 4 chords and you can make thousands of songs out of those 4 chords, and they all sound, very much similar. So there's a fine line between, copyright stuff. You've got to be very aware of that. Obviously, you can't just copy stuff. That's not right. But to be influenced by something I think it's proud. I mean, I'm not going to walk around saying, oh, look at me, I've invented this piece of music that's totally different, because it's not. I mean, you can find a connection to something that came before, I mean, really, everything that's come out of rock and roll, you can go back to the 50s, Chuck Berry, or, it dates back to, I mean, even the Beatles. I mean, they really made a lot of stuff. They were the most influential band of all time, because they really started the whole songwriting, your own stuff, and took it to areas where now we all look to that sort of stuff and go, wow, look what they did. But we're just sort of building on top of something that was already built there, but making it our own.
Absolutely. It made me laugh, that Ed Sheeran case, because like you said, there's 4 chords. Like, you can only like Status Quo made a career of using the same ones over and over again. It's going to happen. People are going to overlap.
That's right. Yeah, they made a career out of using 3 chords. That works. So that's right. And look, there's a John Cougar is a classic example. I mean, he used 3 chords. He used the same song and rewrote it with different lyrics. I mean, Jack and Diane. If you listen to that, as well as ROC County, USA, and Small Town. It's the same chord progression, you know. So very clever. I mean, you got to give it to him. It's very clever and very original in the way he approached it. So it's all got to do with how you approach something and how you make it your own, you know. So I don't know if this is the right word, but I hate pompous artists who go around saying, I've invented this new piece of music and no one's ever heard before. And I'm going, well, bullshit, because basically it's been done before, but you've just put your own touch to it.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Nailed it on the head, my friend.
You probably get a lot of comments now by people saying, no, what is he talking about?
Everyone's entitled to their opinion, my friend. That's all I was going to say.
That's right. Yes.
You've been part of a few bands as well. You were part of Double Vision and Geisha, but obviously you've ended up going on your own. Like, do you prefer playing solo, or was it just some things with the bands that just didn't work out, or what actually was going on there?
Look, with the bands, I mean, this is another thing about bands. Bands is like being married, right? So there's always dramas, right? So with my bands, it was always about, especially Double Vision. I did all the hiring, all the firing, all the managing. I used to pay the guys really well. But in the end, it just, band members think they want one thing, but they don't understand the vision. It was always my band. It was always my vision. And anybody who says that a band is democratic, I'm going to tell you right now, are talking a load of bullshit. Because basically, I believe in what was it, John Bon Jovi, I think he said. Don't quote me on this, but someone said that it's a democratic dictatorship, and that's basically what it is. If you look at every band that's successful, there is always one or two musicians who are the leaders of the band, and the reason why they're still around is because of that. Let's look at the Rolling Stones. Jagger and Richards, right? Without those two, that band would have gone anywhere, right? Look at Kiss. Who are the main guys who keep driving Kiss? Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, right? Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, all right? So if you don't have a guy who drives a band and with the vision, no matter what you do, it's going to fall by the wayside. So it's always that strong visionary, and it's not easy to have that strong vision, because you're going to come across members who think that they know better than you or want to take in a different direction when you know where to go. So it's a sort of obviously got to give and take. I mean, I've always been about, allowing people to bring, their input, but at the end of the day, you make the decision. So being a solo artist is actually a lot harder, because everything falls on your shoulders. So you make the choices. If something doesn't work out, you got to live with it. If it works out, you get the credit for it. So, but again, being a solo artist doesn't mean that I'm the guy playing all instruments, because you still need other musicians. But the group of musicians I work with now in Sweden, they are absolutely fantastic guys. I really love the guys. They are great musicians who listen to my vision. They bring in their own little sort of touch to it, and it works really well, and I love that. And I think that's what makes a healthy sort of a band format, you can say.
I love that. So you're absolutely right. Every single band you think of, they've got a leader. They've got that person that people recognise as the front person. That's right. Yeah. And it's true. I mean, look at Van Halen. We've had Van Halen. I mean, it's Eddie and Alex, really. But those they are the brothers. I mean, David Lee Roth. Yes, he was the face of the band, but really, I mean, Eddie was the guy that kept it. Yeah.
I mean, Metallica though. You've got Lars, Kirk, and James. So, I mean,
That's
I guess
right,
obviously, I don't know. I can't remember the bassist's name. I feel really bad, but okay,
Robert.
thank you. But obviously, it's always been like James, Kirk, and Lars, isn't it? It's always been those three. So I guess they're more of a collective than. Unless, would you say James is the leader though?
You know what? Behind that band, I can tell you right now, it's Lars. It's Lars who is really the guy behind it.
Really?
I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. James is very much part of it with Lars, but you just look back in the history of Metallica. I mean, it's Lars's vision was the one who wanted to put the band together, And but yes, look, they are very much collective. I mean, you look at Robert. Even though he's been part of Metallica now for 20 years, you still look at Metallica as being James, Kirk, and Lars, because that's how strong personalities they are. But if you stand aside from being a guitar player, it's always going to be Lars and James who come across. But then you go back even further, and it's like, yeah, Lars is the guy who's really behind this, But not to take away anything from what James's contribution is, because he's very much part of it. But yeah, if you got to really look deeper and go, nah, Lars is more about the business side of things. You can tell.
Absolutely. I love that. So 2010, I believe it was, you decided to release your first solo material.
Yeah, that's right.
What made you decide it was time? It's time to let's record something. Let's put my own music out there into the world.
I got sick of playing with idiots in bands, really. And I thought, I've been doing all this. I'll just go up by myself, stuff this, and just do it myself. So that's what I did. I just basically decided it was time to sort of go on my own and leave the dramas behind. And I tell you, it's been such a better life to do that rather than dealing with, which I could write a whole book about that sort of stuff. But yeah.
I love that. It's like, why did I release my music? Because I do not want to work with people anymore. Leave me alone. All right. So for those that are just thinking, for the people might be listening to this that aren't aware of your music, how would you describe it? How is your best way to describe your music?
It's pretty much pop rock, with elements of very much classic rock influences. It depends, because if you're talking about my Lone Runner album, it's totally nothing like it. It's an experimental electronica instrumental ambient album, which is much more in the style of Brian Eno, Massive Attack, and Vangelis. While my normal sort of singer songwriter stuff is much more in the in the band form. Electric stuff is very much classic rock, but in the acoustic vein, it's very much Neil Young meets Cat Stevens sort of stuff with a touch of Tom Petty.
That's a great way to describe it. I love that.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you.
Slave to the Fingers, I really, really enjoyed. I had it on this evening. So no, not at all. But just quickly, I love asking musicians this question. Music videos, Joe, love them or hate them? As in the production, the making of them, the setting them up, that sort of thing, rather than the finished article.
I'm very much old school. I love the videos where they used to have bands play live. I think videos have become sort of like a movie thing now, where a lot of times you'll watch a video and it's got nothing to do with the song's about. You and the problem with that is you tend to sort of, once you see a video and then you listen to the song, you're always going to have that image of that video in when you hear the song, rather than listening to the song and get your own interpretation. And so I think there's a fine line with how they make videos nowadays, because a lot of them you look at and go, what the hell are they talking about? So I'm very much old school. I love the old clips of bands sort of miming to whatever, or sort of images and that sort of stuff. So the video medium has since MTV really era has become a very strong point in selling records. Now. I think Spotify's even changed the ball game, because now, back in the day, I remember you would buy a vinyl, you sit down, you pour yourself a drink, listen to the vinyl, pick up the album, read the notes, read the lyrics, and it was an experience. Nowadays, you just go to Spotify, listen to something, you go, next one, and there's no more, in the context of a whole album, which is a shame, because there's some great albums out there that people should listen to. So yeah, look, it's ever changing. I think the way we consume music, and videos are very much still part of that.
Yeah, it's very much a case of I want it now. What? Okay, listen to that. What's next? It's like I say with music videos. I literally used to record Kerrang or Scuzz or whatever was on over here. I'd record it literally whole VHS the whole way through. I'd leave it recording all night. And I'd sit in my room every day after school. I'd put it on and just let it play over and over again. I used to love for hours. I'd lie there. It was great. But obviously, music videos now aren't so prominent. It's like lyric-made videos, or people can't be asked to actually do any.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. And I used to do the same thing too. I used to record stuff and just watch it on video over and over again. And So I agree with you. That. Yeah, again, that was fantastic to do that.
Yeah.
So obviously we said earlier how you've worked with some incredible musicians over your career, but around the same time of Creature of Habit coming out, you ended up touring as a guitarist for Steve Harley.
Steve Harley came out to Australia. Yes, he came out to Australia, and I did he was on a promo tour, so we did radio sessions together. We did some other media sort of concerts together. So it was fantastic. Absolutely. I had interviewed Steve about in the early 2000s, and we got along really well together. So we kept in touch. And when he said he's coming out to Australia, he said he knew about my guitar playing because I had already sent him music, and he said, I really love your guitar playing. How would you like to be my guitar player on tour? And I go, wow, that'd be great. Yeah. So I sat down and I learned that guitar solo to Make Me Smile, and I think I spent 3 months learning that note by note perfectly. And basically my audition was the first time I actually met Steve was when he came out, when he landed in Australia. He was in his hotel room. He says, come and see me this afternoon. We'll meet for the first time and sit down, bring a guitar and play me a song. So I went to his hotel room, sat me down, and he goes, okay, so play me Make Me Smile, the guitar solo. And I'm going, oh, wow, talk about this. So I played it. There's a sort of a bit of a pause, and he goes, fantastic, you've got the job. That is absolutely superb, spot on. And he said to me later that out of all the guitar players he's ever worked with, only 4 guitar players ever played the guitar solo correctly. And he said I was one of them. And that was like, wow, because a lot of times you see the guitar solo being played and it's not necessarily correct, it's the phrasing. And it's not a really easy guitar solo. It's a really difficult guitar solo. There's a great feel to it. So, I was just really wrapped because I was nervous as hell. I'm thinking, if I stuff this up, I'm not going to get the job. But it worked. So, it paid off. And, and ever since then, so I played with him for, it was about 2-week tour. And, when I come to London, I always sort of catch up with him and have dinner with him. And we just keep in touch. So absolutely fantastic.
Amazing. So basically, he got off the plane and gave you a phone call and said, come up and see me, make me smile.
That's correct. Hey, I love that. That is fantastic.
I'm so sorry. I can't tell if Tom looks proud or embarrassed.
Sometimes I wonder why I do this show with you.
Love it. I love it. That's great.
So we've mentioned the journalism. Like, where did that come into it in your career? What made you want to step into the world of writing about music?
I just loved. I grew up in the era of Cream and what was those, mate? Hot Hit Parader and circus magazines. Early days of Rolling Stone, and in Australia we had like Juke magazine and New Musical Express. The old school new musical, not the one today. And I always just loved writing. I just started getting some stuff sort of out there, and then I got a break with a band in Australia that sort of got published, and that just sort of encouraged me. I thought, I love doing this, and then eventually I just worked my way up, until record companies started calling me and say, interview this band, and it's been there in the right time at the right place. I mean, Nickelback was my very first. I was the first guy to interview Nickelback in Australia, and I spent 3 days with them, and my interview got published, and then 6 months later they were massive, and that's what I mean. It being at the right time. John Mayall's another one. When I met him and interviewed him, no one knew who he was. He was just like, who is this guy? And eventually it got published. I think it was the very first interview with John Mayer published in a UK magazine. And then about 6 months later, again, he was big. And then John kept asking for me every time he came out to Australia to do interviews because he knew we loved talking about guitars. And and then my name just got out there, and and that's how it all sort of went for me.
That's awesome. Did your connections to the music industry through your playing and bands and stuff like that, did that help in getting your name out there in journalism, or was it?
No, because when I started doing the playing full time, I actually quit journalism because I wanted to do my music and be taken for my music seriously for who I am, not because of what I did. So no, that's why there's sort of nothing really between 2012 to about 2000, since the pandemic, because basically I was just concentrating on recording. I got a record deal and touring really, but now because I've earned my my reputation and my respect from my music as well as my journalism, I can incorporate them together. So they sort of come together now, and I can go off in both worlds easily now. But it was very important for me that I was because at the end of the day, none of those the media outlets I was working for at that time, none of them actually really supported what I did. Like when I went out and said, look, I've got a new record out, can you give it a bit of a plug? None of them said yes to it, because basically I was no longer working for them. So now it's different because basically I've earned that sort of, I had to work my way up to sort of gain that respect. But now it's fine because they see it's two different worlds for me. And a lot of writers are like that. I mean, there's writers now who are musicians, authors, and radio broadcasters. I mean, it's become a different ball game now where you're not just one thing. I mean, look at Joe Elliott. He had is it Planet Rock? He's got a radio show, So, look, musicians have now become sort of, there's different avenues they can go down to now.
Yeah, you find quite a few, like I think Alice Cooper and Nikki Sixx, they've all had radio shows and stuff like that as well.
That's right, yeah. And, sort of, they all sort of give themselves a bit of a plug, which is nothing wrong with it. I mean, it is your own show, so, but it is a different ball game now. And I think social media, and because the way the world's going, it's opened up those sort of avenues now where, if I had a show on, say, a podcast, I will plug something of mine. There's nothing wrong with that, But you go back 20 years, it wasn't really on because this stuff didn't really exist, So you had to sort of keep it separate. But now it doesn't matter.
When you offered to interview Foo Fighters and Queen and Kiss, and it must just be really, you want me to speak to Metallica? That must have been mind blowing.
Look, in the early days, it was sort of a bit of a starstruck thing, but then you get used to it because I always walk in as being like one of the band, and that's the thing. That's one thing that sort of what's the word for it? Distinguish me from other writers because I'm a musician. I'm a guitarist. I speak their language. I know their mindset. So I walk in there as I'm one of the band members, and they open up to me, and they know they can talk to me on that level. So I can get stuff out of the guys differently than, say, a normal journalist, right? Who would just sort of ask the basic questions or, whatever they want, or tabloid crap, So, meeting Metallica was just, I mean, it was like, well, I'm talking to, Metallica, James and Kirk, but at the same time, it's like, these just my peers. I grew up with these guys, and I'm a musician. So, it is. Look, it is. You got to sort of keep it on the professional level, but I'm very particular about facts and respecting one another at the same level type thing. I mean, I really hate lazy journalists. I mean, there's nothing worse than journalists who just ask stupid questions, like, for example, how did Metallica get their name? Now, it's something that can take you 2 minutes to look up on the internet anyway. And not only that, put yourself into, say, James Hetfield's place. If he's been asked that so many times, one day he's going to come where he's going to go, I'm walking out of this interview, I'm not doing this, And then what happens then is that journalist will write a story saying James Hetfield was this arrogant, walked out the interview. And people think, oh, look at James, look what's happened. They don't understand there's a different side. That didn't happen because of James, happened because the journalist was quite lazy, So you got to be aware of that sort of stuff and just respect it.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've interviewed bands for a volunteer thing that we do. I do ask that question. I'm always intrigued. I mean, I know you could always look it up and whatnot, but some bands I'm always intrigued as to why, because obviously coming up with a band name is so difficult, especially this day and age now where everyone's got the internet and everyone's got a platform to do whatever they want on. So finding a name for something now is insanely difficult, but I'm always intrigued by what they thought of before. That's more why I asked that question rather than, why did you pick that snare drum, Lars, on St. Anger? Why'd you pick that snare drum?
I bet he's been asked that so many times.
That's right. Yeah.
So, when it comes to interviewing bands, do, say, Metal Hammer, for example, turn around and go, right, we want you to go talk to, I'm just going to say Metallica because we were just talking about them. Do they say, like, we want you to talk about this, this, and this, or do they just go, go interview them, and then you just come up with whatever?
No, mostly you sort of, for example, if you get an access to a band and you say, I've got access to, say, Metallica, you want a story? And they go, yeah, go do a story. So you got to get a signed first a story. You can't just sort of go out and do it. You let your editors know. And but no, most of the time, look, 99% of the time, you got to do the research and the questions and yourself, and hopefully by writing a good story, the editor likes it and runs it. Because if it's a bad story, they're not going to run it. That's the thing, unless it's something really, major that's so different. But you got to just realize what do the readers want. That's the thing. Always think about what would you like to read in the magazine. Do you want to read about James's new guitar? Or do you want to read about James' new hot rod? So you think about what do the readers want to read this time, and you go through all the different interviews they've done, and you make sure that and you repeat something that's been done before, because nothing worse than doing an interview and go, hang on, this is an interview sort of like I read like 10 years ago. So you got to make sure it's something that's relevant, new, fresh, and different. So the reader can go, wow, that was really cool.
I like that. I like that. Obviously, we're doing what we do. I'm just sitting there like, taking notes for this. Cheers, James. Great. I do want to point out as well, obviously, we've said you talk to these amazing bands, but you do also do work just writing articles in general. I believe I saw one about a guitar and stuff like that. What other sort of things do you write about?
Mostly just about, I do anything about music. Basically, I write about, I can write about an artist. I can write about an album, specific album. Just anything to do with music that relates. From an interview, I put together a story. As long as it's music oriented, I love writing about it. So appreciation of older albums. Like I've been doing a column for Goldmine magazine every month. It's called In Search of Vinyl Gold, where I write about an overlooked album and discuss it, and mention why people should check it out again, that sort of stuff. I love magazines like Mojo. That's one of my favorite magazines. The English way of writing stories is fantastic. So I that's what I do. I just write stories So I do. It's just anything to do with music, really.
The magazine industry has sort of taken a massive hit in regards to the fact that you can now just get it on your phone. So obviously magazines have started to disappear, especially in the UK, because people just access it via Apple or whatever. Everything's now handheld. Does that ever worry you, or would you just move straight to digital rather than write for mags?
It does worry me because I'm old school. I can't read something on the computer. I love to have it in my hand. I'm old school, right? But yeah, it has. A lot of magazines have now. That's why they got an online site, so you can have a digital version and a physical version. But look, a lot of my stuff, what gets published in print later on comes out in the digital version, that's just the way of the world, really. Some stuff like the Goldmine column I do, that's purely online, so you can read it straight away. And I think that the big thing about publishing physical and publishing digital is, with digital, it's instant. Right, so if I publish an article, say now, it's online now. But if I go to a magazine, it's going to take 3 months before it hits the newsstand, sort of thing. So, and that's why it's so important that if you write an article like that it's still relevant in 3 months' time. So it's a fine line you got to sort of walk between digital and physical. But it's just the way of the world. It's a shame because some great. I just loved in the old days where you just go to a newsagent, and buy your magazines, go and sit down and read them. Now you got to literally on your phone, I can't write really on the phone. I don't know how people can do this, but I still need the old school computer to actually write. But my friends, I've seen people just go on the phone and go, how do you do that? If I had to write an article on the phone, it will take me probably 2 months to write a simple article that can take me 10 minutes on the computer.
Could be worse. You could be like typewriter. Come on, I can't even do computer yet. Typewriter. Yeah. Pen and paper. But it's amazing looking at all the stuff you've done in the world of journalism, the people you spoke to, and all that. Do you have any particular favourite memories from that world? Any days it's like, God, that was a good day?
Look, Sir George Martin, the fifth Beatle, who passed away a few years ago. Probably one of the highlights of my career because that was purely and truly a true legend of rock music. The Beatles. How close can you get to the Beatles than Sir George Martin? And just wonderful to sort of have the chance to actually meet him and spend time with him. It was about half an hour in his hotel room, and I met Lady Martin. It was just absolutely fantastic talking about John Lennon, the Beatles, Jeff Beck, who, by the way, was his favourite guitar player. Jeff Beck, is amazing. So. And Lemmy from Motorhead. How can I say? Lemmy from Motorhead, purely and truly, again, one of the real rock stars of our time. Intelligent, witty, didn't suffer fools gladly, really, really nice guy. And I was just so honoured that when he offered me to sort of, spend time with him, just wonderful time. I mean, when I first interviewed him, he put me through my paces because Lenny he didn't like journalists who were lazy or asked stupid questions. So I made sure that I asked him engaging questions, and he really, really loved it. And when he said to me at the end of the interview, Joe, that was one of the best interviews I've done. You're coming backstage. Make sure you're there in 6 months. I want to see you. And I was. And to be invited by Lenny. So the whole story's in my book, by the way, about Motorhead. So, so it's fantastic.
That is incredible. Soon as you've mentioned it, let's bring it up. You've obviously got your own autobiography, Backstage Pass, the Grit and the Glamour. What made you want to put your stories and your life out there for the world to read?
Over the years, everyone said to me, you must have a lot of stories about all these people that you met and, you played with. And I go, yeah. And they used to say to me, why don't you write a book? I go, no, I don't think so. It'll take forever. But, when the pandemic happened, I thought, now's the time to do it. Now, the reason I could write the book first is I've kept diaries for the last 30 years, detailed diaries. So everybody I've met, every gig I've played, it's detailed in my diary. So that way I can remember things because I've got it written down. And then obviously the stuff that I've forgotten, it helped me to refresh my memory. So that's the reason I can do it, because half the time I wouldn't even remember what I've done yesterday. So thank God I had those diaries. There's enough material there for 3 books.
Oh my days.
So the first book is what's out. It's called Backstage Pass, the Grit and the Glamour. Like I said, stories about, hanging out with Motorhead, Brian May from Queen, Sir George Martin, Disturbed. There's a lot of metal guys in there, a lot of pop guys, a lot of guitar guys, a lot of classic guys like Status Quo, and a lot of guys like a band called Hinder, who are, how can I say? There's a few little, if you're after sex, drugs, rock and roll, you're not going to get that with this book, but you are going to get stuff about what it's really like to be backstage. What they're really like is just normal human beings. You might have a bit of a touch of, some that sort of stuff there. Like Hinder touch a bit about some of their revolting backstage stuff they used to do, which is quite funny at times, when you read it. So, I didn't want to go down that whole sort of sex, drugs, rock and roll thing, because look, there's so many books about that, and it gets boring after a while. I want to show a side that people don't really see if they're artists, and everyone's really enjoyed the book. They're saying it's fantastic. We didn't know this about Lemmy, or we didn't know this about so and so, which is great. So, and it's a respectful thing too, by the way. So.
That's incredible. I think Jamie would love that. That's yours.
I was going to say, I was when I was doing the research, I was like, I'm going to order a copy of this.
Go on, Amazon. Get it on Amazon.
But I was going to ask, like, having such a career doing so many wonderful, how the hell do you remember it all? But as you said, detailed journals, that is great. I love that, because I always wonder that when people write autobiographies.
Yeah, diary is important because like I read I'm sure you read like The Dirt by Motley Crue many years ago, right? And Nikki Sixx's diaries, the Heron Diaries, whatever. Now, a lot of times you read that and you go, now, wait a minute. If you've supposedly died 3 times and come back, right? And at that time, you can't remember, because I've read interviews from that period, you can't remember what happened. But then 30 years later, you remember in detail what happened. How can that be so? So, and at that time, he says he's never kept diaries. So, I go, but that's all myth making, because look, half the time, a lot of stories are exaggerated in order to engage you as a reader. I mean, I'm not saying it's not totally true, but a lot of times exaggerated. I mean, I know Tom Werman, the producer of Girls, Theatre of Pain, and what's the other one? The third album, the other album they brought out, and he told me that a lot of stuff that Nikki Sixx talks about in regards to like the cult symbolism and that sort of stuff, it's all bullshit. It's all like myth making. It's just putting out there so people can go, wow, Motley Crue, they're into this stuff. That's cool. Let's get into it. He says they were really focused on making that record as successful as possible. So, which is why they got Tom Werman, because he was the guy to go to have a successful album that was on radio. And that tells you everything. Same as Twisted Sister. he made them, radio friendly. So all these bands that used to go to Tom Werman wanted to go to him because they want to become successful. And then they say, oh, we were into this sort of, drug-addled period where we didn't know what we were doing and blah, blah, blah. It's all myth-making. I mean, it's rock and roll. I mean, rock and roll without myths, what is it? you need your myth-making, yeah?
I suppose Nicky Six as well, he probably didn't like, I don't want people to think I've gone off from a gig and I've gone into my hotel room and I'm sitting down and written what I've done today. It's like, I went out and did lots of drugs off hookers' backs.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
One thing as well, I was reading the reviews on Amazon for the book. And one thing that really stood out to me, and I had to mention it, someone made reference to a guitar pick collection.
Guitar pick collection. Hang on. In regards to what? I haven't seen that comment. The comment which
it was just on one of the Amazon. It was like he wanted to learn more about your guitar pick collection.
Oh, well, I did bring out guitar picks, signature guitar picks. I every tour I ever did, I had a specific guitar pick, which is like what most bands do anyway, just as merch type thing. So I've still got some of the leftovers from each tour. But yeah, I haven't seen that comment, so I've got to check that comment out. Is that on Amazon?
Yeah, it was on Amazon.
Okay. I know. Look, I've got some diehard fans. I know that. I mean, there's a guy in America who has got everything I've ever put out or done, and there's some stuff I go, I didn't even know I did that. He's got one of the red T-shirts I brought out for the tour. He's got a cassette release that I brought out, was a limited edition, hand numbered. He's got. But yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, really, really nice to see diehard fans who know more about you than you do yourself.
Just going back to the music quickly. Obviously, you've got sorry, my brain is completely gone. The Lone Runner. That obviously a brand new album is completely electro instrumental sort of thing. But then you've got some EPs and some records where obviously they're full band, they're singing, etc. Why have you gone for the contrast of two different varieties of music, I guess?
That's just I love, as a musician, I love exploring different styles, and I suppose with the pandemic, not being able to go anywhere, I just felt like that sort of style of music was much more sort of ambient and sort of exploration, So I was in my studio. I love tinkling around. I just thought, you know what? I just came up with some riffs. I go, oh, this is good. I just feel this is the sort of mood I feel. And I believe in the power of music to heal and to inspire and to, just make you feel good. And I want my music to do the same thing. So I thought, you know what? I'll put together an album. So, put the album together. A label in Australia signed me up to it, and released it was only about a month ago, and it charted on the ARIA charts. So I've got it debuted at number 4 on the ARIA Jazz and Blues charts, and in that particular week, it outsold Fleetwood Mac and Michael Bublé on the chart. I couldn't believe it.
Absolute win.
So, yeah. So you can hear it it's obviously on Spotify too, but the CD is done really well, and it stayed in the top 10 for 3 weeks in Australia.
Oh, congratulations, man! That's
phenomenal.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. What's the feedback like from it with your fans? Because obviously they're used to hearing you a certain way, and now you're like, here's something completely different.
Yeah, they say it's really good sort of music they put when they're working away or in their car or they're trying to relax and chill out a bit. It's really good. It's a nice contrast to what I do because, like you said earlier, Slave to Fingers. That's very much in a style of Joe Satriani, sort of, Gary Moore and sort of rocky, hard rock stuff. So if you love sort of that high energy guitar, air guitar, you'll listen to that. But when you want to chill out a bit more, you listen to Lone Runner. So, there's that contrast to it.
That's amazing. I think it's a genius move, actually, because I know a lot of artists and a lot of bands tend to veer off and go a different way. And a lot of fans are like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Because obviously they're trying to keep, not relevant's the wrong word, but they're obviously experimenting in different areas to stay fresh. And for people to be like, oh, I quite like this sound. It's quite nice. You've got some of the heavy stuff over here. And then, Bring Me the Horizon are a perfect example. They were obviously heavy, as hard as fuck. Yeah. And then they went R&B-ish almost. And it's they're so different. And then their new singles are more electronic-y with breakdown. Yeah. It's so great to be so eclectic and have so much different stuff for, whatever mood you're in, I guess.
Absolutely. I get that. And so you're right. Classic examples Bring Me the Horizon. I mean, I love that that collaboration I did with Ed Sheeran. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah? Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, if you weren't a fan of that band, you'll be a fan of that band after you hear that. I mean, that's brilliant. I love bands who do that, like you said, who aren't afraid to sort of go against the trends and just explore stuff. You know, I've never been about trend. I've been, like I said earlier, it's about, I love my influences. I'm proud of my influences. I don't care if someone says, "Oh, that's a bit old school." I don't care, because you know what? Fans, there are fans out there who love old school, you know, and I play for the stuff that I like, that hopefully there's an audience out there who like it too. So, but yeah, and then I'm not afraid to experiment, because, yeah, as an artist, you don't want to be, you get bored after the same. I mean, I couldn't go back now and do another Slave the Fingers. I'm, you know, beyond that. That was a period in time that I really enjoyed. I'm proud of it. You know, now I move into different areas, and I just want to just keep progressing and growing as an artist.
I've always said one of the most inspirational bands in this, if not the most inspirational band on this planet, the Beatles. Every album sounded different. Like,
yeah.
They tried something different and new every album. If the Beatles can do it, anyone can bloody do it.
Absolutely. I mean, you listen to the first album to the last album. It's a completely different band. You know? So you know, and that is right. They explored. They didn't stay. I mean, if they stayed in how they were in the first album, they wouldn't have lasted as long as they did. You know, or be as influential. So, and that's like anything. It's like any artist. If you notice the artists that sort of disappear after a while, the ones who sort of haven't progressed. You know, they're trying to sort of repeat a formula, which there is no formula. You know, I mean, it's very rare. I mean, AC/DC probably very rare, because they've kept the same formula. But you know what? Bloody brilliant band. You know, absolutely. I mean, I wish we could write riffs as hard and as good and songs as AC/DC, but I mean, that's a rare occasion that, you know, they've never steered away from the formula. You know, it's AC/DC, but again, it's the sound. Everybody's trying to imitate that sound. You listen to all the metal bands that came after; they all try to imitate that AC/DC sound, but no one ever got close to it. Maybe Crocus, you know, but again, they're a distinctive band, AC/DC. So, yeah.
No, it's like, I get a lot of stick for being such a huge Kiss fan. And everyone's like, "Oh, bloody, you always made for loving you. It's a disco record." I'm like, yeah, but you know what? They tried it, and it's probably the biggest selling song they ever did. So,
absolutely right. That is the biggest selling album. That's right. I loved it. I mean, that album Dynasty is. I don't care. People make fun of it and say, "Oh, they'll disco." You know what? That is a bloody brilliant. There's some great tracks on that. You know, was it 2000 Man on that one? Sure Knows Something. Dirty Living. Absolutely fantastic. You know. Yeah.
Great record. And obviously, I know I'm going to nerd out Kiss slightly, but I know Unmasked was huge in Australia as well, especially Shandy. It was a massive song in Australia.
Absolutely. Shandy was, yeah. When I heard that, it was like a pop rock song, absolutely made for radio, and I loved it. You know, I know over the years the band sort of try to distance themselves away from, but you can't, you know, because that's part of who you are. And I actually, those two albums I prefer over a lot of the other stuff. You know, I mean, obviously the classic stuff, you know, who can't deny that. The 80s stuff wasn't too bad, you know. I think when they brought out what was it? The one that had Domino on it.
Revenge.
Yes, Revenge. I love that one too. So, but look, I reckon Dynasty is a bloody great album. And I remember the big poster that came with it. Open up the vinyl, gigantic big poster of Kiss.
See, it's just great. Sorry, Tom.
Okay, don't apologise.
I don't get to nerd out about Kiss very often. But I was looking at like some of the bands you've toured with, like supported, Bay City Rollers, The Animals, and obviously we were just talking about Kiss. You toured with Peter Criss as well.
Yeah, Peter Criss did a Kiss convention in Australia about 6 years ago, and he was headlining. So I was one of the support acts. It was about like 6-7 support acts. It was a whole day thing. So absolutely fantastic. And they had Bruce Kulick out at the same time. So, yeah, you know, to see my name when they, on the poster, it said Peter Criss, and then had, you know, the support bands, and my name's up there, Joe Matera, and thinking, wow, you know, it's fantastic. So, look, Kiss fans are great. I mean, I played a couple of Kiss covers just in my own style, which was, you know, it's okay, you know, because you really can't do Kiss without, you know, with a proper band. But, you know, they were happy with it. The Kiss fans were supportive. I had a couple of fans who had never heard of me before who became fans of mine, you know, through that, which is really cool. Absolutely great, you know, and I think that was the last tour he did. He's going to retire, but I think he may be doing another show. I'm not sure, but that's probably one of his last ever live performances, which is quite an honour to be on that same bill with him.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Did you get a chance to meet Peter?
No, he sort of kept to himself. That's the only hard thing about it is I wish I got to meet him. A lot of times with these support acts, you don't sort of get to meet the headlining act at all. I mean, I've met most of the ones I've played with, except for Peter Criss, and I think there was another one. But most of them are pretty good. I mean, the Animals are fantastic. I spent time with the Animals, you know. The Basie Roll is fantastic. I spent time backstage with them, you know, and absolutely, yeah, just really, really great times.
I imagine touring with some of these bands, like you must learn so much as well, just from watching.
Yeah. You do. You learn a lot about stagecraft, but you also learn a lot about the audiences, you know. I mean, the Basie Rollers was really fascinating because every night it was a sold-out show, 1,000 women, basically, who were reliving their teenage years and 70s. It's incredible. And to come out in front and just play your music, you know, because basically I was relatively not known to them, you know, I'm just a support act. But then to actually hear them, you know, applause and you know, encoring, I want you to encore, which you never encore as a support act. And and just, you know, becoming fans of your music, you know, and just absolutely wonderful, you know. I mean, they were really supportive. I was really, really lucky to sort of play to some really appreciative crowds. I mean, because they were really diehard, basically roller fans, you know, and to win them over was fantastic. And I think as a support act, that's really rewarding because it's about going to play to an audience you don't know, who don't know who you are, you know, maybe for a few people, and to win them over with your own music is an achievement, is satisfaction.
I bet it's also amazing when fans sing back at you when you're on tours, when you're playing your songs and they're singing your lyrics right back at you. Must be an unbelievable feeling.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's happened a couple of times. You know, a few fans have, you know, followed my career all along the years, and who know certain song sort of, you know, choruses, and I'll start singing them. It's really rewarding. Obviously, you know, I love to hear a whole room of 1,000 people sing it, but just to hear some of those fans sing is fantastic.
Have you missed touring? Obviously, with the pandemic and stuff.
I love touring. Yeah, I have missed touring, especially Europe. I love Europe, and I miss touring because it's great. I mean, it's not easy work. It's really hard work, but it's more about going on stage and playing for audiences that, you know, really appreciate who you are and your music. So yeah, hopefully, you know, things settle down a bit more, and, you know, maybe next year I may return to Europe again. But we'll see. It's like I said, it's more about each day, take it as it comes.
Yeah, it'd be great to have you back there, Joe. It'd be great to have you back over here in the UK.
And I'll come over to England and meet you guys personally.
Yes. Yes, that'd be great.
So before we start bringing this to an end here, when I was doing my research, I kept hearing names of loads of Australian rock bands that I've never heard of. And I was getting this feeling because, like they say about Canada, like Canada has this untapped music that are some of the greatest bands on the planet, but no one's ever heard of them outside of Canada. And I'm starting to get this feeling that it was the same in Australia. So what's some great Australian rock bands that you can recommend people checking out?
Well, probably some of the classic ones that, you know, especially when I go to Germany. I mean, they seem to have a really good knowledge of Australian bands, and, you know, bands like Rose Tattoo. They are superstars in Germany. They're bigger in Germany than they are in Australia. I mean, you know, they were big in their heyday in the late 70s, early 80s, but in Germany, massive. Some classic Australian bands. You know, there was obviously, you know, In Excess. Mental Anything was another one that was big. Men at Work is another one that were, you know, big overseas. It's really hard because I don't really hang around with much of the music scene in Australia. I'm much more focused on Europe. I know more about European bands than I do about Australian bands. I mean, we've got some great musicians here, don't get me wrong, absolutely. But it's interesting because when I go overseas, a lot of times I'll run into an Australian band and I'll go, "You're Australian?" They go, "Yeah." "Where are you from?" "Melbourne." "Oh, so am I." And I go, "I didn't even hear about you," you know. So it's really weird. You get to sort of find out about your own bands overseas.
A bit like, well, fuck that guy, we're from the same city. They don't even know who we are.
Yeah. I live down the street, do you? Well, I've never seen you. It's funny. It's absolutely, it's incredible.
That's nuts as well. That is so.
I'll tell you a story. I was in Hamburg one day, and I was sitting down having my lunch, and I pulled out my credit card and to pay for my meal, and I sat down, and then this guy across to me looked at me, came across, and he goes, "You Australian?" And I'm going, "Yeah." "Are you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, how'd you know it was Australian? He goes, I saw your credit card. It was an Australian credit card. I recognised it. And I said, oh, where are you from? He says, Melbourne. I said, so am I. Couldn't believe it. Like, out of all the places in the world, Hamburg, like.
I mean, and that's not exactly close either. That's insane.
That's right. Yeah.
I just love the fact he recognised the credit card of all things to pick up.
I know. I was a bit worried. I'm thinking, he reckoned, is he looking out for credit cards here? Is he?
Oh, it's my neighbour.
That's right, my neighbour. Okay.
Oh. So, Joe, finally from myself before I hand over to my colleague here, if people are listening to this and they're like, I like the sound of this Joe, I like the cut of his jib, as they say. What's one or two songs from your back catalogue that you might recommend people going to check out, just to get a feel of what you are and the sort of music you put out?
Okay, well, definitely Fallen Angel from my back catalogue from 2012. And another two more would be Louder Than Words, especially if they watch a video, they'll get the idea. That's from about 2015. And a recent one I did with Don Powell from Slade. He plays drums on it. It's called Inside Looking Out. It's from last year, and absolutely fantastic guy. I've had some great musicians play with me. I've even got Jan Schaffer from the guitar player from ABBA. He plays on one of my tracks called Take a Look. As you know, Jan's the number one session guitarist in Sweden, and he actually outsold ABBA in 1973. His debut album outsold ABBA's debut album. And so I met him when I toured Stockholm, and we got along really well. He loved my music. I loved his music, and he offered to play on one of my tracks. And so he plays on that track called Take a Look. But Don Powell, I've known for quite a few years from Slade. Absolutely one of the loudest drummers I've ever worked with. I mean, yeah, but check it. He's on the video, so people want to check out the track. It's called Inside Looking Out. You'll see Don playing drums in the video to my track.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Mr. Stevens, do you? Oh, sorry, Cam.
I do actually, Jamie. Thank you. Sorry, I don't know if there's a time lag between me and Neil. I'm not sure what's going on there. Joe, two questions. Firstly, what's next for you now? What that you can talk about? Obviously, what's coming up?
What am I coming up? Okay, more writing. Obviously, in the middle of my second book, but that still might take a couple of years before that comes out because it is a slow process. I've got new music coming out still. I've recorded a few new tracks which will come out later in the year. But at the moment, it's basically just promoting the Lone Runner. My reissue, by the way, reissues have just come out a week ago. They're called Slave to Fingers and Creature of Habits. So the first two albums have been reissued by a US label called Renaissance Records. 2 for 1, which means 2 albums on one CD. Absolutely fantastic reissue with new artworks and bonus tracks. And so check that out online. You can buy the CD or on Spotify. Lone Runner, as again, you can buy it on CD or check on Spotify. And my book, obviously, still promote my book because it's still relevant. Backstage Pass, the Grit and the Glamour. You can get it at any Amazon store in your country. So if it's in the UK, it'll be amazon.co.uk, or in America, it'll be .com. So yeah, check it out, and everybody can sort of. I'm always open to. I'm easily I love interacting with fans or anybody who wants has got a question. So they can find me on social media, Facebook, easy. Send me friend request, and my website joematera.com, and basically you can find anything you want there.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for that. Hopefully everybody goes and checks that out. Make sure you do. Everyone, listen to this right now.
That's right.
Finally, Joe, when you first started out, obviously playing guitar, etc., growing up in school and everything else, did you ever think that this is where you would be today with this unbelievable career you've had so far?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would never have thought. I mean, when I was 10 years old, I had an album which had it was like the year's top tracks. Those compilation albums they bring out every year, and that had on that album it had Basically Rollers, Steve Harley, Pilot, Slade, all these bands. Now, 95% of those bands listed on that album, I've played with them, I've worked with them, I know them. And like, who would have thought as a 10-year-old that would ever happen? No way. I mean, you cannot say that you knew. I would have never known. So it's amazing what life can throw you. I mean, you just follow your. Like I said at the start, it's important to be who you are. Don't be afraid to follow your own path. It's not an easy path. I mean, it's been a hard slog going up doing your own thing. But in the end, you'll find as I say, you'll find your tribe. And when you find your tribe, they're there for you. And and like yourselves, I really appreciate your interest in me. It's been such a pleasure talking to you guys. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And I enjoy talking to people who have passion for what they do. And you got a great channel there, both Tom and Jamie. And thank you for having me. And I really appreciate it, mate. And anytime, just give me another buzz, and we'll love to chat down in the future.
Oh, Joe, thank you so much. That means the world. Seriously, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to yourself. Thank you so much for reaching out and for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, it's been fantastic. I really enjoyed the chat, and you've had some great questions. And it's just been nice, laid back. It's nice to do something that's sort of laid back, and fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Look, what I'm going to do is anybody who sees this and they want to contact me and they mention that they heard me on your show, right? I'll send them a free MP3 for somebody. If they just, whatever, mention that and say, I'll pick one of my songs you like, I'll send you an MP3 for free. How's that?
That's
You're
incredible.
an absolute hero. I love that.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Joe. That's amazing.
Oh, right. That's good.
No, it's been amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kind words. This has been absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. And all the best of your channel. I love what you do. And
Joe, my friend, thank you so much again. Have an absolutely amazing Saturday.
Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Too.
Look after yourself.
And I hope it's 1:30 in the morning there.
Yes.
Is it? Oh God, yeah.
One, yeah.
So you have yourself a great Saturday too, and we'll stay in touch.
Yes, we definitely will. We definitely will. Look after yourself, all right?
No worries. You take
See
care.
you
Thanks
soon,
a
Joe.
lot, mate.
Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What a fantastic conversation. I loved this one. So good.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed. And hopefully you all of you guys enjoyed listening to it as much as we did recording it. And Joe, thank you so much for taking the time, my friend. Greatly appreciated. We'll catch up soon. And hopefully you enjoy what we've delivered.
Absolutely.
It's about getting into schools and talking to young people because, I know that people can change. And it's about talking to people and getting them to understand and perhaps step back from violence and prejudice and whatever. And we just need to work together and keep on the good fight there.
Absolutely. Hey there, guys. We are ecstatically happy to announce that we are associated with the Sophie Lancaster Foundation.
The times are changing, and with the unfortunate death of Sophie, those changes have made a massive impact for the future. If Sophie was with us still today, I can guarantee what you are doing will still be reaching so many lives of young teenagers, young adults, and those who wish to be as different as possible. So thank you very much.
To find out more about this incredible foundation and all the work they do, and more importantly, how you can help, head on over to www.sophielancasterfoundation.com. God, let's see if I can fucking do this in my voice as it is. Mr. Stevens. Wow.
You nailed
it. Jay!
Yeah, nailed it. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Jet. No. Jet. No. Jet. Ooh.
Thought it's participation time.
Participate, bitch!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to participate in Jamie's participation challenge. This week, I said, the human brain, isn't it a wonderful thing? Especially our memories. We can remember important things like birthdays, but also useless things like an old mobile number we had 15 years ago. So with that in mind, what is the most useless thing that you have memorized? What say you, Mr. Stevens?
Knowing the location of all of my stuff. I know where everything is.
Everything ever?
Well, no. Do you know what? I really struggle with this, right? Because I don't know what useless shit I know. Everything might be useless.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you class as like useless information, realistically? You know, I don't really know much about anything, to be quite honest with you. I'm a bit of an idiot. No, no, I genuinely... I know that bicarbonate of soda and vinegar cleans an oven.
There we are. Fair enough.
Or maybe baking soda. It's one of them anyway.
One of them.
Yeah. I probably just thought that Roy there was like, that's wrong, actually, Tom. You know, fuck all, you dickhead.
I did like the fact you went, I know this. Actually, I'm not too sure if I do know this.
Yeah, I have no clue. What about you?
I also struggled with this. I couldn't think of any like random... There is probably loads of random, stupid little facts I know, but until it comes up in a conversation, I ain't got a clue.
I know.
Oh, come on.
Sorry to interrupt very quickly. I know that you used to keep Jet in your sock from Gladiators.
You just like bringing that up, don't you? That's all it is. That's not even a fact or anything. That's just you liking to embarrass me. It's fine.
Sorry. That's a piece of useless information, I know. What was yours?
The only bit... The first thing that came to mind, only because I'm having a conversation about work the other day, is there's a song from Monty Python called The Money Song. And for some reason, I haven't heard this song in about five years. And I still remember every single fucking word to this song. And I don't know why. I really don't know why I know every word to it. It's not something I've ever sat there religiously watched over and over again. But for some reason, it's just ingrained into my mind. So The Money Song by Monty Python, I know every single word. That's
amazing. I mean, now you've mentioned that sparked off the fact I could have forgot about Dre. Eminem and Dre's parts.
You can. I remember mentioning this.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
But if you ask me to remember anything important or anything that I probably should remember, you ain't got a hope and a prayer. Because I am useless. Anyway.
You lived on it.
Because of what?
Because you're living on it.
Yeah.
Whoa, sorry, I thought it was a Bon Jovi joke. I thought you might get it. That was all.
No, we're not, man.
So you haven't got a hope and a prayer. I was like, no, it's because you live on it.
Gotcha.
Fucking hell, fine.
I'm slow.
Wait, let me just spoon feed you some more. There you go.
All right, it's not a good week for me, all right? Let's get some audience answers.
Let's.
Alan Carr says, to this day, I can still remember the level select cheat code for Abe's Odyssey. It's burned into my long-term memory.
What a game. What a game.
There's a lot of this. There's quite a few people that have remembered things from video games. It's great. And random facts like this one. Nina Hewitson says, for some reason, I can still remember that the fat from sheep's wool is called lanolin.
Okay.
It was a question on a pub quiz when I was 14 years old, and it's the only one I got wrong. And since then, I've never been able to forget that fact.
Ah, so it's like in grade, like, motherfuckers, give me that question again so I can right the wrong.
Lisa Sobis says, still to this day, I can remember my brownie promise. Fucking fair play.
Wow.
Yeah, I did Beavers, Cubs, and Scouts. I don't remember any of them.
I did Beavers and then was like, this is shit. I don't want to do this anymore.
5 years old, just go like, this is shit, I'm out of here, bye.
I was like, yeah, not for me, thanks. I think my mum put me in because she was working and my dad was away all the time.
It's another form of babysitting.
The Beavers will look after you now, love. All right. We'll see you when you're 12.
Harrison Smith, my son, says, I can remember the Remove Wanted level for GTA 5 story mode off the top of my heart. RB, RB, RT, right, left. But I can't remember any of my passwords for like anything unless I write them down. It sounds about right.
Should make him the GTA password code, cheat code, shouldn't you?
That's a great idea. Just make his password. Yes, that's a brilliant idea. I'm going to tell him.
I mean, don't actually do that now because we just shouted that out on the show. But
yeah, just put another letter on the end. It's fine. This one really made me laugh. It's so bizarre. Lusa Meldrum. Lusa? Let me try again. Louise Meldrum says, The old number and jingle for high-tech windows. It was a windows and doors conservatory company in the early 90s. I have no idea if they're still around, but it's 0800 458 2525.
Oh my God. You Googled it, didn't you, Louise? You Googled it.
Fucking brilliant.
That's amazing, though.
Claire Jones, my old B&M staff number. Keep in mind, she works for B&M now and has a new staff number, but for some reason, she still memorised her old one.
There we are. That cake she made,
it
it was incredible.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Everyone go check out Claire's Cakes on Facebook. Oh, Shannon Graham. 01216059768. It's either my old house phone or my nan's old house number. I dare someone to ring it. Please don't, people. Please don't ring it, just in case. But I love the fact she's memorised her nan's old house number.
Hello? What are you wearing, Grandma? What colour are your panties? Sorry. I'm sorry.
Chrissy Sweeney Fitzgerald says, exclamation mark, semicolon, exclamation mark, semicolon, exclamation mark, semicolon, exclamation mark, semicolon. Rosebud, it's the cheat to give you all the monies in Sims on the PC.
There we are.
Why ever remembers these things? Debbie Meyer says, my mother says, our landline number from when I was a kid, still memorised to this day, and also the fact that a pig's orgasm lasts at least 30 minutes, often longer. Two opposite ends of the spectrum there, mother. Thanks for that.
I don't want to know how she knows about the pig's orgasm.
No, nor me, to be honest. Matt Rose, I could still remember the Konami code.
The what?
The Konami code. It was, I think it was Street Fighter, I want to say. The different, like, up, down, left, right, B, A, B, yeah.
That's Sonic.
Is it Sonic? I remember there's a code on loads of different
up, down, left, right, A, B, A, start with Sonic.
Okay. I didn't know.
No, which one's Konami?
I want out to code.
Interesting.
Janet Bowen says, the fact that French for bat, translated, is bald mouse.
Amazing. We love that.
Like that one. Lisa Clemens, the school song for Beverly Hills Elementary School, which closed after I was part of the last graduating class in 1979. Fucking hell.
Wow.
That's impressive. Dave Richards. I haven't worked there for a long time, but I can still remember the checkout code for broccoli at Sainsbury's. It's 03272466. Ruby Goodwin, I can memorise Crichton's full name in Red Dwarf. I looked it up because I had no idea. It's basically just a load of letters and a load of numbers. So there we are. Something to memorise. Ollie Roylance. I have memorised the Russian words for goldfish and hamster. Russian is not an easy language to speak, so fair play, sir. He did write it down here. I don't think I could pronounce this to save my life.
Go for it. Go on.
I knew you were going to make me try this. Morgius Finca and Zalara Yariba. Sounding more Mexican, that one. Zalara Yariba!
Which was which?
He didn't say. But then he does say there, to be honest, I can't remember which one's which, so there we go. So one of them's the other. James Lesteve, which is pretty much all of them here. Lestev. Pretty much the same as a lot of us, I imagine. I can remember various raps from 90s cheesy R&B tunes. Yeah, fair play. Heather Downing, one that really made me laugh. I can still remember the Lord's Prayer. Fair play. Don't think I've ever memorised any part of the Lord's Prayer. Oh. Sam Aston, this will really make me chuckle. 10-9, 10-9, 10-5-5-7-7. Second half of the Iron Man riff. No idea why, it's just the second half that I can remember. I'm sure if I remembered the first part, if I had a guitar in my hand, but yeah, that's all I can remember off the top of my head. But fair play. Mali Malpass. The Lord's Prayer as well. And all of the lyrics to every song by Pantera. I still know them, and I don't ever listen to Pantera anymore. Clearly, someone listened to a lot of Pantera when he was younger. I'll give you a couple more. Alex Graham. Now, I'm going to prelude this by saying I had Alex Graham, Ollie Nightingale, Steve Kenny, Lucy Orchard, Sarah Greenwood, all pretty much give the same answer, but I'm just going to use Alex's as an example here. My old neighbour's registration number from their 2001 Ford Mondeo. Everyone seems to memorise license plate numbers. Sarah listed all of the cars she's ever owned, license plate numbers. Why do people memorise these?
That's amazing. Fair play. I don't know.
And most of them, apart from Sarah, it wasn't even theirs. But if I missed one there, sorry, Phil Jolly, he wrote down his aunt's Vauxhall Viva registration number from 1975.
That's insane.
Like, why do people memorise this? And last but not least, simply because when I read this in the car earlier, I almost spat my drink across the car. PR Brown. The most useless fact I remember is that Trump was actually our president at one point in time.
That he was. What a mental moment in time that was as well.
Indeed it was.
But thank you to absolutely everybody that participates in Jamie's Challenge every single week. We appreciate all of your answers every single week, so please keep them on coming. I loved your attempt at Russian. That was great. But if you enjoy Jamie's participation challenge, you enjoy Callum's Treachings, Tom's Journal, the interview, and the absolute gobshite trash bag wank we talk at the beginning, then enjoy the other 91 editions of the Chronicles of Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts from, whether it be Spotify, Google, or Apple, etc., 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 so on and so forth. You can also come and find us on YouTube at the Chronicles of Podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to get notified when new videos are released, and comment would be absolutely wonderful. We'd really appreciate it. You can find, and I shall list these for you, our interviews are all on YouTube. Our shows are all on YouTube. Our hashtag WBW Way Back Wednesdays are on there as well. Our Bloodstock live interviews, our Bloodstock vlog, and our Dublin Crust live interviews are all on there for you to thoroughly enjoy on the old YouTube there. We are also on Facebook at the Chronicles of Podcast. Make sure you like it, share it, put some memes, some skits, whatever you want to do. We're all on Facebook there for you to enjoy. But thinking about it, Jamie, where else could you find us?
On Spotify, listening to all of this week's guest, Joe Matera's incredible music, especially Fallen Angel. I really like that song.
And on the Twitter at TCOPod. And whilst you're listening to Joe Matera's excellent back catalogue of all his tunes, especially Fallen Angel, because it's one of your favourites, and on our Twitter, where else could you find us?
Sat there, preparing our questions, ready for our incredible interviews that we're going to be committing at the 2000 Trees Festival very, very soon.
And on the Instagram at TCOPod. Come and see us on TikTok at TCOPod as well, with Jamie is bashing out a video a day. It's absolutely wonderful to reminisce and see some of the absolute highlights and classic moments we've had as part of this show. It's wonderful. Can't believe we're almost at 100. You can come and find us on LinkedIn at the Chronicles of Podcast. Make sure you come follow us and connect with us on there. You can also come to our beautifully brand spankingly sexy and delicious little website at www.thechroniclesofpodcast.com. You can find out all about us on there. All of our shows and episodes are on there. Our affiliations and sponsors are on there. And our sexy little shop, or you can get yourself a t-shirt. You can get your Tom's Journal. You can get a hoodie. There's loads of bits and pieces in there for you all to enjoy at very reasonable prices. So please come support the show. It would be graciously appreciated. Make sure you follow us on all the social medias at TCO Pod, and make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube at the Chronicles of Podcast. And now, a word from our Jamie.
Before we get out of here, let's say thank you to a few of our friends, shall we? Every single piece of music you hear on this show is brought to you by one man. And that one man is the incredible singer-songwriter, Matt Roberts. Go check him out on all the social medias at Matt Roberts Music. As I said last week, he's got himself a whole bunch of new toys for that studio, so we are very excited to see what Matt will be producing for us very, very soon. But while we wait patiently, go check out his most recent album, Light of Day, and go check out his incredible back catalogue there. Some amazing songs there for you to go and check out. So again, go check out all social medias at Matt Roberts Music. And of course, we have to say a massive thank you to Mr. Braden Barry and his Stay Cozy Clothing. Head on over to www.staycozyclothing.com or download the smartphone app. Have a look on there, see what you like the look of. There are wonderful hoodies. There are wonderful t-shirts like that one that Mr. Stevens is wearing today. There are wonderful hats like that one that Mr. Stevens is wearing today. And there are those delicious mugs. They are fantastic. I love the look of those mugs. Add whatever you like to your basket. And then when you're at the checkout, enter that discount code, The Chronicles, to get yourself 10% off your order. And while you're there, perusing staycozyclothing.com, of course, don't forget to go check out the man himself, Braden Barry, and his fantastic music, A Say We Can Fly. Go check out his latest album, Beneath the Roses. It is an absolute doozy. And his latest single, Through the Trees, with its incredible music video. It is absolutely amazing. Go check them both out right now, because Braden is wonderful to us, so you should be wonderful to Braden. And last but not least, we have to say a massive thank you to the Sophie Lancaster Foundation. They are stamping out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. And everywhere is vitally important. This show, yes, we record it here in the UK. Yes, what happened to Sophie happened in the UK, but Sophie's story and the thing that happened to Sophie happened all over the world. People are treated differently simply because the way they dress, the music they listen to, the way they feel the need to express themselves, no matter what that is, people are being treated differently for that, and it's just completely unacceptable. Today, in 2023, these things should not be happening. So please, if you're not familiar with Sophie's story, head on over to sophielancasterfoundation.com. Familiarize yourself with that story. Maybe share it out with the world. Share it to people who you know are not familiar with that story. If you know someone who's been treated differently because of the way they dress, the music they listen to, the way they choose to express themselves, head them towards the website. There are links there for you to get support. If you are treated differently, head on over to the website, because you can get help there, and there's different ways that you can be supported. We absolutely love this charity. We support them every single week for a reason, because myself and Mr. Stevens, when we were younger, were both treated differently because, you guessed it, the music we listen to, the way we dress, the way we chose to express ourselves, and it's time to bring this to an end. We are approaching the festival summer season, as I said last week, and I'm going to say it again because it is absolutely amazing. A massive thank you to everyone who was at the Download Festival, who completely sold the guys out. Every single bit of merch was a gun. And it is incredible to see that amazing support. If you do want some merch and you're not at the summer festivals, again, do you know where I'm going to tell you to go? sophielancasterfoundation.com. Click on the shop tab there and get yourself a wonderful t-shirt like I'm wearing, or a hoodie, and help support the foundation. Again, we cannot wait to be supporting the foundation in the summer season, and their own little plans we've got coming up very shortly as well. So yeah, and please, like I said, give them all your love and support. And last but not least, a massive thank you to my wonderful co-host, especially this week putting up with me because I am not on my game.
Have you managed to come down from your soapbox now, yeah?
Yeah, I'm off there. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Jamie, another absolutely wonderful guest, another absolutely wonderful show. Joe, thank you so much again for coming on our show. It was graciously appreciated. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. But, ladies and gentlemen, as for this week, we're going to see you all next week for the Chronicles of Dustin Murphy.
Oh, yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.